Morning YouTube, Lostveld here. I was just sent this by one of my viewers, Little Friend Zone. It's the new Spooky Look Airbolt video, so I guess I'm doing a debunking. I just started streaming, but apparently I'm not even allowed to fucking play the game now. I gotta debunk this Mongol on like all the time, dude. Oh my god. So, how to airbolt left and right. Finally understand directional airbolt. We're starting off with a clickbait title. Now remember, I'm subscribed to you. It's probably directional airbolt. This took 2 months of non-stop production. It was a crazy effort. Oh, 2 months. That's cute, dude. Not just from him, but from his amazing team. So this guy actually did this with people. Ah, la 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 la. Insane editors, pro coaches, and support staff to bring this to you. Oh my lord. Ay, 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 ay. Look at all those poor people thinking this guy is good. This did not help me. It made me more confused. I need help. Some people say that about my video too. I think you need to add the ball too so you can practice micro adjustments. That's the... Anyone who says micro adjustments is an idiot or an ignorant, just so you know. Honestly, you made one of the best tutorials videos ever, like no BS. Well, thank you, man. What's up, Shaharyar? We're doing a debunking. So, okay, I'm just reading a bit through the comments here for... This is going to go on YouTube. Okay, well, the comments don't... You know, it's just sheep people saying that this is great. So I'm going to start doing the debunking now. This video is 1 hour long. So the video you're watching right now on YouTube, I'm sorry if this is extremely long. But again, that's the Brandolini rule. You know, it takes 5 minutes to say some random bullshit. It takes more time to debunk it. So if this is 57 minutes, oh my lord, we're here for a long time. Yeah, I mean, everybody knows, Marcus, that this guy's a scam. Everybody knows this guy's a scam. It's not news, you know. Okay, is the sound good?
In all of competitive Rocket League, it unlocks all the other. Air roll is one of the most important mechanics in all of competitive.
Yeah, so it's not just a mechanic; it's also a technique, right? You should talk with Spook Luke sometime. No. I will talk to this guy if it pays to talk to me. I will not give this guy my free time.
It unlocks all the other advanced mechanics.
So it doesn't advance mechanics. It doesn't unlock advanced mechanics. It allows you to do more advanced mechanics with more ease. It doesn't advance. It doesn't unlock per se anything, right? But it just makes it easier to do other mechanics. A little bit louder. Is this good?
And it's the foundation of true aerial car control. But here's the thing. Most aerial tutorials get this completely wrong. Built
says the guy who's made like 5 fucking tutorials already. Look at this greasy hair, dude. I'm sorry, this is ad hominem arguments. I just don't like him at all.
Tell you it's just a feel thing. Or
no, so nobody says it's a feel thing. I don't know why he says this now, and he said this in the previous, you know, in the preview video of this video. Not many people say it's a feel thing. Some people say it's a feel thing, just figure it out for yourself. But mostly people say, like you absolute orangutan, they say upright, downright when the hood is facing you. So stop with this argument. He just made this argument up. Okay? He just made this up right there. He just says it like it's true, but he just makes this up. Right? 19 seconds it took me to fucking crash out. Like, dude, can you stop with this argument? Everybody says that's not true. People don't say it's a feel thing. Yes, sometimes they do say that, but when they try to give actual arguments, they say upright, downright, like you did, you fucking idiot. Oh man, it's like 5 minutes in.
Or just practice 100 hours in free play. That is,
yeah, so that's not true. It's not wrong to just practice 100 hours in free play. It's also stupid.
Is terrible advice that keeps players like you stuck.
No, what keeps players like you stuck is if you follow Spook Luke, dude. Oh my lord.
If you've ever tried to learn air roll for yourself, you know the struggle. I spent over 1,000 hours in training and rings,
Oh my lord,
not knowing there are actually 4 keys that unlock 80% of air roll mastery.
okay, what is he gonna say? Is he gonna say neutral revolution, for instance?
I had to learn this the hard way, but once you learn it, it will be like a light.
So it doesn't take you 1,000 hours to master this. On average, according to the internet, it takes about 100 hours to learn this by yourself. And by learning, I mean to be pretty decent at it, but not great, right? So I don't know why he spent 1,000 hours on it. Maybe he's that retarded. I don't know, but it's 44 seconds in. There's already 2 wrong things.
Light bulb turning on in your brain.
Yeah. So how'd you get the light bulb to turn on? By using the constant of the neutral revolution, by the way.
Is the new method that will take you from clumsy tumbling in the air to smooth buttery car control.
Yeah, no, that's clickbait. So that's clickbait.
Faster than you ever thought. And the reason I can guarantee this will help you is because I run the #1 coaching service.
There we go. It's fucking 1 minute in and he's just talking about his fucking coaching program already.
In Rocket League. By the way, it's called thegrandchampbootcamp.com. And today I brought in my team of
Yeah. So all of you people, you're very gullible people if you follow this guy. Basically, I'm not gonna lie. You may be very nice men, nice young men, but you're very gullible and you have no either you have no self-esteem or you have no self-awareness. I don't know, like critical thinking. I don't know. What the fuck, dude?
to break down exactly how this mechanic actually works.
Yeah, so here's the argument. He's bringing pro players and freestylers. Let me say something. Just because you're really good at something doesn't mean you're good at explaining what you're doing, let alone even like knowing what you're doing. Okay? Not every coach in every sport has been a pro player before. So look at it this way. This is like an orchestra and a conductor, right? The conductor does not need to know every single instrument in the orchestra in order to be legitimate enough to be the conductor. What he needs to know is music. Okay? So this argument of let me bring some pro players, first of all, being a good at air roll and being a pro player, those two things have nothing in common. If a pro is a pro, it's for other reasons than just using directional air roll. I'm pretty sure they can all air roll, but that's not the point. Right? Just because you're great at something doesn't mean that you yourself know what you're doing. That's why everybody, before I release my video, everybody's learned through empiricism by themselves. And that's why so many people struggle and give up or take a long time to learn it. Funny how he fakes his reviews from his coaching program so he can make more money. I don't know if he fakes them, but I have zero trust in the guy, so I wouldn't doubt that would be possible.
This is my ultimate air roll guide.
Okay, is this going to be your last guide? Because so far, this is like his 6th or 7th video in 5 years that I've seen him. And in every one of his videos, he talks about upright, downright. Obviously, this guy has seen my method. He knows what I think of him. And he's trying to use the same format, you know, saying I've spent 2 months on this thing when I've said I spent 2 years, you know, making chapters with something that resembles a methodology, right? What we've seen from his preview of this video is that he's still full of shit. He has no goddamn clue what he's talking about. But more on that later on, I'm pretty sure.
Covers everything from air roll history to air roll mastery. Let's get into it. And real quick, before we dive in, if you want to learn air roll even faster, I made a custom air roll cheat sheet.
So this is not a cheat sheet, right? This is nice, but it's useless. You can do this by yourself going on the air rotation practice map on Bacchus Mod on custom maps. This is not a cheat sheet. This just shows you what the card does when you press the input. You can literally do that using your goddamn eyes in free play. Okay? You don't need this. This is some fancy looking shit that kind of gives him credibility and legitimacy, but you can actually do that in free play. That's what I've done to analyze. Okay? You jump, you press a button, you press an input, and you see what the card does. Okay?
video. It's got all the best information from this video and more. So if you want to skip the wait, I just posted it in my free community below. Totally optional, but it'll help you learn even more. Click the first link below to get started, and let's get into it. Here is the cold truth about air roll tutorials. Most of them either A, overcomplicate things to try to sound smart, or
Yeah, okay. Pretty sure he's talking about me right now. I'm going to make a video called The 3 Kinds of Tutorial. So there's some people who want to sound smart like Reflicious, but I can say that because I have enough critical thinking to realize that he says substantially nothing. Me, I don't think I say nothing in the video. Everything I say comes from observation that are objective analysis, right? So the argument of saying there's some people who overcomplicate, that's not an argument. First of all, this is the hardest goddamn mechanic in the game. So I don't think you can overcomplicate it. If you think that, for instance, if somebody thinks that I overcomplicate things, it's not me. I'm talking about something complicated. That doesn't mean I'm overcomplicating it. Okay? I cannot summarize in 2 sentences what air roll is if I want to be in depth. So that's a non-argument. That's a non-starter argument right there.
B, they BS you like a high school or college group presentation. They'll basically do 15 minutes of yapping in a circle with some vaguely related air roll footage, and then say, go grind rings for 100 hours and...
That's true. That's, to me, that's people like Reflicious, right?
Feel it out. That's lazy advice that doesn't help.
Oh, this guy's so arrogant to be using those terms to insult other people when he is the person that he is. That is highly ironic. And it's such a disrespect for anyone on earth that this piece of shit human being right there would have the audacity to say those things. If you don't understand the irony, it's because you don't know who this guy is. And you should make your research. You should do your research.
Players who are actually trying to learn, like you. So let me show you how to actually understand air roll with my 8 corners method.
Oh, we're diving straight into the bullshit. So the 8 corners method, first of all, that's not called a method. I don't know why he uses method. This shit is not a method. And this thing doesn't work because if you change the verticality of your car, then none of what he says is going to be possible.
Will change everything about how you learn.
It's ridiculous.
None of this, it's just a feel thing BS. If you imagine
he's just going to talk to you about a tornado spin, for instance, when you're vertical. And so you press right on the joystick, but the car goes backwards. Yeah, but listen to me, moron. If you change verticality, then this makes no sense. So if this is not a constant that never changes, you should not talk about it.
Are 8 directions you can push your joystick. You know, up, right, down, down.
I've said everything in my video, by the way.
Down left, and up left. You can map each air roll movement to a specific direction on your joystick. Then you'll be able to see exactly how each joystick input.
So how about if you want to start doing that, the smart thing to do would be to see, for instance, what happens when you just start doing the input and you fly. The beginning of what the input does. That's why I figured out the directional input up and down and the non-directional input left and right. Just looking at what the car does is not really interesting in itself. I even talk about that in my video before we start with the method. So this is just observation that he's making. This is not a method. Can we stop overusing the word method? A method is a reasoned and logical way of thinking through a systematic approach. Okay, that's what a method is. Stop calling your discoveries your methods. That's not a method. That's literally just an observation, and the observation only stands if you're going in a certain vertical angle. What's up, Seti? How you doing? We're doing a review of the Scam Spook Luke.
But translates to a different air roll animation. Let's pick air roll left first. We'll start flying with our car perfectly faced forward, nose pointed directly up to the sky.
Again, so yeah, the 8 corners method only makes sense. It's not that it works because it's not a method, so it doesn't work or not work. This observation only makes sense when you're perfectly vertical.
What I would call the perfect flying position. Let's test.
Yeah, how about you use a simpler term like horizontal and vertical? He's going to say when the car is grounded, or when the car is perfect position, or the car is neutral position, 67.5 degree. It's fucking ridiculous.
Animation closely. Holding arrow left and pushing our joystick vertically, or straight up to 12 o'clock on the clock, what happens? Let's pause halfway through the spin to find out. If you freeze here,
So how long do you keep the input for instance?
you'll see our car ends up flying at the right wall.
Okay, so say at the beginning of the input on neutral revolution. See, he doesn't say all those things, but he should say those things, right? When the hood is facing me in neutral revolution and you praise the input at the beginning of the input, your car goes to the right.
Okay, let's reset. Now, holding arrow left and pushing our joystick diagonal up and to the right, aka in between 1 and 2 on the clock for half a spin. What happens? Our car ends up flying at the back right corner.
That's such a stupid thing to say. Do you see what I mean? This is making correlations based on variables. If you make correlations based on variables, your correlation is going to be false the first time you change the variable. That's why you got to look for constants. Okay? This is ridiculous what he's doing now. We're just wasting our time.
Pushing our joystick horizontally to the right. Now to 3 o'clock. What happens? Our car flies.
People are going to think that this is how you change direction. And they're not going to understand. When they go a bit more horizontal, they're not going to understand why the input that he says make you go to the right doesn't make you go to the right anymore. Right? Because this guy, this face is the face of an ignorant man who pretends to be working hard, but I don't know. Maybe he was using the whole capacity of his brain when he made that. But if that's the case, then he is intellectually a bit limited. Or either that, or I'm a fucking genius. One of the others. And I don't think I'm a genius. So I think this guy's just dumb.
The back wall. Okay, one more reset. Pushing our joystick diagonally and back right to 4 or 5 o'clock on the clock. What happens? Our car flies at the back left corner. Do you notice a pattern? If we start an arrow left adjustment from this,
you're gonna be like lopsided by a certain degree. If you press right, you're gonna go backwards. If you press up, you're gonna go right, etc., etc.
Normal flying position, our car always goes.
What does normal flying position mean? Like, be more specific, dude. That's why words exist, so that you can use them correctly. If you want to say vertical or perpendicular to the ground. Jesus Christ.
90 degrees clockwise from the direct.
So now when people fly and they're going forward, they're gonna want to go. So let's say they're gonna be a bit tilted, right? Can you see this? Yeah, let's say they're gonna be a bit tilted, right? So they're gonna be horizontal, a bit like this. And if they want to slow down, they're gonna think that they have to press to the right, like this. Does this make me slow down? No. You know why? Because pressing only one input per revolution only gives you a maximum certain angle that you can turn. Okay? So now people do this and they realize, oh, I'm going backwards. Yes, sure. But when they go forward and they want to go backwards, they're like, oh, it's not working anymore. What do I do? Because it's not the same verticality. So everything he's saying now is useless because it relies on a variable, on the variability of the verticality of the car. Maybe not a genius, but that's the result for working 2 years and working for a week. Maybe, yeah, this guy spent 2 months doing all this, and that's not just him. He uses a whole team to do all those things. I wrote my shit for 9 months and I observed. That's all I did. How hard is to observe?
Direction we push our joystick. This holds true.
And this is something that I came myself with, but I realized the problem with it. I realized that the verticality didn't work. So that's why my method is so much better, because I'm very scientific about it. Every time I thought I had found out something, I would try to prove myself wrong. And if I could prove myself wrong, it would mean that the conclusion that I had gotten to was wrong. So I would start up again from scratch. This guy thought, hey, input makes my car tilted. Me say input make you tilted 90 degrees. But then he doesn't understand that the verticality renders all of this observation useless.
All the way around the clock. Push joystick down and to the right, the car goes to the left. Push the joystick to the left, the car goes.
What a waste of time for people,
dude.
Push
the joystick diagonal up and left, the car goes up and right. While holding arrow left, your car always goes 90 degrees clockwise from the direction you push your joystick.
Yeah,
don't believe me?
At the beginning of the revolution, if you keep your input for more than one revolution, then this is not going to work anymore. If I press up, right now I'm going to go right, and then I'm going to go straight from there. If I do this, I turn to the right, and now I'm going straight from this point. I'm not turning right anymore. You need to say those things. Otherwise, people are going to do this, press up, and think that they're literally going to do this. Keep pressing, keep going to the right. No. You got to say how long you press the input. Oh, my Lord, man.
Let's test air roll right. This time, if we press...
Well, this is the same thing. So he does arrow left and arrow right so that he suits everybody's needs. I think this is not important. I think people have enough common sense to start figuring out for themselves, do the little work of translating the inputs in the opposite direction, which I don't think is too hard. When is your car completely perpendicular in a normal game? It's never perpendicular. It's never. It can be many things, right? Usually when the ball is in front of you, you can have many verticalities. This one or this one. And then he says 67.5 degree. He's going to say it maybe in this video too. He said that ridiculous thing of being 67.5 degree in order to basically go up forward a little bit, which is ridiculous. To calculate the thing that you need to be at is ridiculous. I'd rather teach people what the inputs do and how this thing works in a better way than this. Like, try to be 67.5% like this. It's ridiculous. That's not... So he's put... The problem I have with this video right now is that he's putting things into boxes, but the things he's trying to put into boxes are variables. By definition, a variable cannot fit into a box because it variates, right? That's the whole point. That's why you got to search for the constants. A constant can be put into a box, not a variable. That's the whole point. But this is so far ahead of this guy that he's never going to understand it. Will he cut up after watching the vid? Well, after watching the vid, I'm gonna take a little break because this is gonna be exhausting. I will stream tomorrow, by the way, if you want to keep your questions for tomorrow.
Perfect flying position.
You will soon see when he talks about car positions. When you do, you will throw your PC across the room.
And we push our joystick up to 12 o'clock.
Yeah. So basically, this is the same thing for arrow right, but this is ridiculous. So this, again, look at this guy. He doesn't even know what the word of method, the meaning of method says. He just says method because it gives him weight and legitimacy. My sensitivity is 140, 150. So this is not a method. Like, this is literally just an observation. I don't know why he would call this the method within a method. It's an observation that only works if you're a certain angle.
Left.
As soon as you change the angle of the car, this observation doesn't stand anymore.
Okay, reset. Now let's push diagonally up and left on the joystick. Long conversation with ChatGPT bring you this guide. I have visual designing the front, investigating this mechanic. In fact, for the last 60 days, I've been researching the furthest corners of Reddit, collaborating with some of Rocket League's best visual designers.
Funny how I don't ever see my video in these things.
And meeting with pros to bring you this guide.
Look how long this shit took to edit. He literally paid someone to do this. This is what I'm saying. This guy is like Hollywood, right? He makes shit movies, but he makes them look good so that you think they're actually good movies.
Had a multiple hour-long conversation with ChatGPT to perfectly...
Oh my God. Imagine buying ChatGPT Plus so that you don't have any time restrictions and then chatting with a fucking computer to tell you what Errol is.
Understand tornado spin.
Oh my God. Don't tell me you said that, dude. You spend hours talking to ChatGPT trying to understand fucking tornado spin. It's ridiculous, bro. Okay, if you don't air roll, you turn to the right. If you start air rolling, depending on the speed of the air roll, you're going to do this movement, right? What happens if you want to analyze what happens? My nose goes up. My nose makes a circle with my ass, right? There's a certain angle that I cannot go more than when I do this. That's about it. If you change the speed of the air roll, right? If you change this like that, the speed of the air roll, see, the tornado spin is going to look different. It's, oh my God. This is fucking ridiculous, dude. Oh my Lord, man. Why would you say that? Why would you make yourself sound like an idiot? Oh my God, dude.
In other words, what I'm about to show you is the air roll system that I've refined, not just from my personal gameplay experience, but through tens of hours of research and study.
Oh my God, tens of hours?
combined with in-the-field practice.
Imagine if I had spent 2 years on doing something wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Coaching alongside my team of pros. But Errol is not easy,
my Lord.
so don't take it from me. Take it from a player like Chaotic here. He's a member in our grandchampbootcamp.com private community.
Okay, so I don't care who he is and what his fucking legitimacy is. Just because you're good at something doesn't mean you're a good teacher. Teaching requires skills in itself. Empathy, great sense of analysis, and great elocution. If you don't have those 3 things, you're never going to be a good coach or a good teacher, right? Thoughts on Errol right? It's the same as Errol left.
And this method is the first time he's understood Errol.
My background in robotics and physics has made my understanding of regularly very basic, physically and geometrically paced. I was saying to say it's a field thing, blah, 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 blah. Oh my God. This is a guy that was part of his Errol session before. You know the video I did before on Spook Luke? That's a guy that was in this thing. Oh my God. How can you have a background in robotics and physics and have so little critical thinking that you would be a sheep to this scammer? Spook paid him to say that. Yeah, maybe.
Years. So if you're interested, let's continue. To simplify, there are...
I don't know if I'm interested. I kind of feel forced to do this shit right now.
8 key movements we'll cover in this video. Technically, there are 16 adjustments if you include 8 for Errol left and 8 for Errol right. But here's the thing. There are really just 3 of these 8 adjustments that give you 80% of the results.
Okay, so see what he's saying right now? That's a blatant lack of knowledge. Because he's talking in a way that makes you think that the inputs that we do on the joystick are not linked to each other. So he's literally talking about those micro adjustments bullshit that people say all the time. Okay? Those 3 inputs will never give you as much as you need. Like, so basically he's saying tornado spin, upright and downright. So upright and downright. So upright makes you go right, downright makes you go left, tornado spin makes you go straight, basically, right? But the problem is that this is a very basic way to use directional Errol. Well, if you want to be more advanced, you're going to use a combination of inputs, the reverse clocks, in order to move your car in bigger angles, okay? So just by saying that, he's just proved to me that he still knows nothing about it. He's still in this micro adjustments kind of way of thinking. Yeah, coaches are not every coaches are a scam, but this guy definitely is a scam. I mean, there's so many videos of people who give testimonies about how this guy was like a scammer and how he treated his employees at the same time. You know, it's ridiculous, dude. So anyway, so he's still in the micro adjustment mindset. So that we are 6 minutes in out of 57 minutes, and I now have full evidence that what he's saying is bullshit.
That's why I've broken this down into a 5-step system. Step 0 for setup. Step 1 for understanding what I call the reference points. And
yeah, so the reference points that's basically him trying to copy me for my terminology. And the reference points is going to be the neutral revolution and the verticality of the car, which is ridiculous.
And steps 2, 3, and 4 for the 3
Look how long that took to do, dude.
most important
This useless animation.
adjustments that actually matter in ranked play. What I'm about to show you is the system I've refined through thousands of hours of coaching. This is the exact method.
If it took you thousands of hours to do that, you should quit your job, get a real one, study for it, and try to better yourself as a human being. If it took you 1,000 hours to, in 6 minutes, prove to me how little you know and how stupid you are and ignorant, then you got to do something about yourself, dude.
That has helped students at my company,
This guy needs Jesus.
the grandchampbootcamp.com, master Errol in 12 weeks, not 12 months.
12 weeks. So I think you can. Master is a big word, right? So I don't master Errol. I master Errol if Errol is just about conscious neutral revolution. Okay? But 3 months to master it, I mean, of course, it can be done. I'm sure that I've taught people in it to be good in less than 3 months. But it's not mastering.
Now, Here's the thing most tutorials miss. Understanding
Yeah.
the theory is one thing, but having
Yeah.
visual references is what's going to cut your learning time in half. I've
Yeah.
partnered with elite Rocket League visual designers to
Yeah.
create something you won't find anywhere else.
Okay, so just okay. I mean, we don't care that you brought the best people in the game. We just want the best information. Do you know what I mean? He's trying to sell me a car right here, it feels.
This is a complete aerial mastery cheat sheet, and I'm giving it to you
So he said it in the beginning, he says it 7 minutes after.
completely free. This will be your best friend while you watch this video, because it isn't just some
So you're telling me that you got editors to take the car, put a fucking green screen behind it on the visual effects, and that's it? Like, what do you mean? First of all, you don't need that at all. Second of all, how does this being made by such good designers make us improve? You're just talking about one input. You could literally just do this. That's what I did before the method when I say, imagine the car is within a ball. And I say when you press upright, the nose goes to the right at the beginning of the revolution. When you press right, it goes. When you press up, it goes here. When you press up left, it goes here. Like down right and down. It's ridiculous. What the fuck? Yeah, we don't care about the visual designers. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Oni. That's why this guy is a complete scammer. Spooky Luke is not a coach. He's a businessman. And within the businessman people, he happens to be a really bad one. And a scammer on top of that.
basic PDF. Not only does it include the 8 corners method with...
So it's not, again, with the method, he's trying to give himself credibility, but it's not a method. It's literally nothing more than an observation based on a variable, which is the certain verticality of the car. Look at that. We don't even understand what that does, because, like, where's the neutral revolution in this? You have to have a constant in order to understand how things work.
all 16 different adjustments for arrow left and
Yeah.
arrow right, but I've had our editors create custom Cinema 4D mock-ups of both aerial and grounded views so you can actually
Aerial and grounded views.
see what's happening in game. You don't want to know how difficult this was to do.
Yeah, and why, like, have you thought about if you should actually do it, you Mongol? Imagine paying money. Look at this look right there. Just look at the look in the eye, dude. This is not happiness right there. That's your conscience telling you you're a piece of shit, just saying.
If you don't believe me, pull it up right now. I'll have the cheat sheet, first link below,
Yeah.
or scan the QR.
Okay, let's see it. Cheat sheet. Oh, so you have to be on the Discord. Of course. Well, it's not that free, is it? If you have to be on the Discord.
Code somewhere on screen right now, and you can join my Discord and pull it up. I'm also going to be updating this document with workshop map codes, custom training sequences, and progression drills organized by difficulty. And I'll be
Okay. So first of all, the difficulty, it's subjective, but that's not tutorials. That's training plan right there.
recording video walkthroughs for you guys after this tutorial goes live. Just drop a comment with what video tutorials you want the most, and whatever gets the most upvotes, I will go make and post videos.
Yeah. So now he's manipulating people like any content creator into, making comments basically by saying there's a reward after it in the end. Nobody has the piece of evidence that he's actually going to, keep his word and do something after it. But,
My second channel. Now, let's get back to understanding the fundamentals. For
Yeah.
intermediate and advanced players that already have your bind set up, you can skip ahead to
Please don't tell me we're going to talk about bindings.
the timestamp on screen.
You
That'll
know.
take you straight to step 1. However, for 90% of you watching, I recommend you pay attention closely and don't skip. Class is in session, and if you fall asleep and wake up 30 minutes in, the whiteboard is going to look like chicken scratch. But jokes aside, I'll try to keep
That was a joke.
necessary math, because I don't like math as much as anybody else. Okay.
No, well, you're bad at math, Luke. I'm sorry to say that. You're not bad. You don't dislike it for any other reason that you suck at it.
Okay, Step 0, the basics of air roll. Before we get into the practical steps, we
Put this on soundboard. Clip it. No, you clip it and you send it to me,
need to
dude.
address the most
I'm recording right now. I
fundamental
have to
question
do something for
in all
YouTube.
of aerial car control. Regular air roll versus directional air roll.
Okay, we're talking about regular air roll compared to directional air roll. Okay, let me give you an example real quick. So, if you play on free air roll, in order to rotate your car left and right, you have to put your joystick to the left and to the right while doing it. That means that all of the other inputs on the other side of the joysticks are not going to be able to you're not going to be able to use them. That means that less inputs means less options, means less possibility and freedom. Less patterns, less movement. That's it. Now you know why directional air roll is better than free air roll.
AKA air roll left or air roll right. I want to go back to the start of your question.
Wait, what?
What is the difference between air roll left and air roll right? Why does it feel smoother than joystick air roll?
It
Okay.
was like a big kind of revolution almost, I think, for a lot of people. But a big thing, to me at least, mechanically, that makes me think it's better. The fact that, so when you're air rolling normally, you can't steer in the air, right? Because you're pushing your stick in a direction to air roll. But when you're using directional, you can also steer in the air. And again, it gives you those different type of adjustments.
Well, you can steer in the air while using air roll, free air roll, right? It's just that you're gonna only have upright and down. If I go this way, see, like I'm wait, hold on. Let me bind it to what can I bind it to? Shit.
And it
I
kinda
can't
gives
click
you
the
that
link.
tornado spin
You can put it in the Discord if you want, but I can't click it right now.
kind of movement as well, like, which is good for, again, getting under the ball or just keeping the ball on your car. I think it's just better.
This single choice will determine your entire mechanical ceiling in Rocket League. Let me
Yeah.
be crystal clear about something. If you're still using only standard air roll in 2025, you're playing a completely different game than everyone else at the top ranks. The mechanical ceiling with standard air roll is like trying to paint a masterpiece with crayons. You can make some
Yeah, it's actually a good analogy. He understands one thing. That's crazy. He understands one thing. My analogy is that I say you can walk barefoot with no problem, but it's still better to put shoes on. Directional air roll is only used because it's more efficient than free air roll, right?
something decent, but you'll never reach the level of somebody using the proper tools. Directional air roll gives you access.
Well, that's not true. I also say that imagine you're building a house with only a hammer and nails and wood. You can make a really sturdy house, but to make good solid foundations is going to be more work. Whereas directional air roll is more like, having bricks and cement and other tools. It's just a better tool than free air roll, but you can be really good at free air roll.
To precise movements, adjustments, and recoveries that are literally impossible with standard air roll. This isn't about preference. This is about evolution. The game has moved.
Oh, that was a nice useless clip right there. Look at this clip. Look at this clip. You're expecting something to happen,
this is about evolution.
and then he cuts it. See, that's so stupid.
Has moved forward, and if you want to compete at any decent level, you need to evolve.
Oh, there we go. My bad. I take it back.
Now, before you start spinning mindlessly in free play, you need to understand what's actually happening to your car. Most players fail because they never grasp these fundamentals.
Okay, let's see the fundamentals.
There are exactly 3 movements your car makes in the air. You have yaw, roll, and pitch. If those sound like airplane terms, that's because they are.
Yeah. Well, you only need to focus about yaw and pitch, to be honest with you.
Plane is basically a plane, and you need to learn to be the pilot. I know some of us are well beyond the days of
I'm just wasting my time right there, but okay.
Geometry, and some of us are yet to get to high school geometry. I'm gonna keep this to the basics that will actually help you learn faster. Okay, let's do a little geometry lesson. In Rocket League, we've got 3 axes, right? Because it's a 3D space. X-axis, that's your left and right. Your Y-axis, that's up and down. And then you've got your Z-axis. Think of this as forward and backward. Understanding these axes is critical because your car's rotation involves 3 different types.
Yeah.
You have
Okay. I'm not sure that is how should we put this? That's not fundamental. Like that's common sense. I would call that. I would not call it fundamental understanding of. This is just common sense, right?
Pitch, which is rotating around the x-axis.
Hey, Midu, how you
This is done
doing?
By pushing your left stick forward or back. You have yaw, which is that's.
God, I'm wasting my
Y-A-W,
time, dude.
And this is rotating.
Fucking
around the
move on,
y-axis,
Spook.
Which is done by pushing your left stick left or right.
Oh my lord.
Finally, you have roll. This is.
So remember when he said that people that shit tutorials spend 15 minutes telling you something and they just beat around the bush? This guy is literally fucking saying like something that is related to common sense. Like what the fuck, dude?
Or rotating around.
That's what beating around the bush is. Jesus Christ. I've literally learned nothing except from that 8 corners method. That's not a method but an observation. Like it's fucking 11 minutes already. Come on.
Axis done by pressing arrow left or arrow right or joystick arrow and pushing the direction.
Oh la
Let me
la
break this
la
down
la
with
la
an
la la.
example mechanic that incorporates all of these adjustments.
Just teach us about arrow, dude.
Breezy flick. Once you understand,
A breezy flick is a fucking tornado spin that you let go in the middle of, and then you backflip, you do a musty. Why do we need to talk about breezy flicks right now?
you'll see why directional arrow gives you superpowers in ranked. So stick with me now.
Let's not, oh my God, he changed the camera. Oh yes, thank you for changing the camera. I feel like I'm watching opera right now. I feel like I'm watching Ellen DeGeneres right now. That's so cool. Jesus Christ,
And
man.
Hiram, the video guy, help me with graphics here. In a breezy, we start with a simultaneous yaw right and air roll left. Then, about halfway through,
Who cares?
we release air roll and do a solo yaw right. Finally, we finish with
Oh,
a
my Lord.
backflip or pitch down to do a musty flick and complete the breezy. If this sounds complicated,
Okay, let me show you in easier terms. So you do a tornado spin until the nose is up. Then you let go of air roll, but you don't let go of right, and then you do a backflip. So you do this. That's it. So you do a tornado spin until the nose is up. Then you let go of tornado spin, so you just turn to the right, and then you do a backflip. Okay, there we go. That's a breezy. You're welcome.
or overwhelming, by the end of this video, this will be second nature to you.
So no, that won't be second nature, because the hardest thing about a breezy is not making the fucking movement. It's doing it with a ball, because it requires dribbling skills.
Now that you understand the theory, let's get into the
Dude,
practice.
we're only 12 minutes in. Holy shit.
Here's the truth bomb. Your bindings
Okay, truth bomb.
might be what's holding you back. If you didn't know, I learned this the hard way. I put drive on my joystick. Don't ask me why. It was
Because you're a fucking moron, Luke.
popular.
Who does this? Oh, you're playing Gran Turismo right now. Oh my God, dude.
Rizzo. I don't want to talk about it. Long story short.
Yeah, because you were fanboying on Rizzo because you have no self-esteem and you need to copy other people that you like. Holy shit, man.
Now at 4,000.
This is what happens when you don't teach your kid self-esteem. He becomes like a sociopathic, narcissistic pervert. Just like this guy right there. Okay? This guy so far, this guy's going to hell, by the way.
hours and having to relearn my basic driving controls. So don't make the same mistake I did. Listen up.
Nobody's going to make your stupid mistake because we're not that dumb, bro.
Or I tell you where to put air roll on your controller.
Who cares? So, okay, let me give you my point of view. You put air roll where it feels comfortable. I would advise maybe doing it on another hand than your boost, although that's not even mandatory. And most importantly, just don't make it conflate with other bindings. That's it. That's all you need to know. That's it.
You need to make one critical choice, and that's air roll left or air roll right.
Okay, what is he going to say? So nobody knows what we choose an air roll over the other. It's very arbitrary. It's like learning to ride or shoot the ball with one leg. We don't really know why. We're not even sure that we need to learn one more than the other by nature. Nobody knows. People usually say that the where you speed flip is, the direction which you speed flip is usually going to be the air roll that you're choosing. It so happens that I am like that. Like I do my speed flips and my double flips, my double resets while doing left speed flips, and I use left air roll. But that's nobody can prove this correlation.
You should pick one as your main air roll for aerials. And contrary to what most tutorials will tell you, there is a right answer for you.
Oh, really? Really?
how your brain is wired.
Oh, really? Really? Oh, wow. And whose PhD did you use to say that?
To find your natural tendency in 30 seconds. Go into free play and reset to the center kickoff. What I want you to do is flip forward for the kickoff. That's it. After you do this, pause. Tell me something.
Pause.
Which way did you naturally flip when going for it?
Well, I flip forward, you dumb fucking idiot, because you just told me to flip forward. Did he not flip
For
forward?
the kickoff. That's it.
That's ridiculous. So this is literally what I just said 1 minute ago. There's no proven correlation, but this guy claims that this is where you should be doing your thing. Didn't he just tell me to fucking flip?
Center kickoff. What I want you to do is flip forward for the kickoff.
He said flip forward, and then he does a diagonal flip. See, that's what I mean about being like an ignorant and an idiot, but also a bad teacher. Even when he asks you to do a simple thing, he's not even aware enough. Like, he could have corrected this shit afterwards before posting it when he was supposed to edit it to look for mistakes, right? Oh my God, dude. He says flip forward towards the ball. He should have said flip diagonally towards the ball, you fucking Mongol, dude. What is his IQ, dude? My IQ is 130. I want to know what his IQ is. I demand to know what his IQ is, man. I demand it right now. I'm speculating. I'm gonna say, I'm looking at my vision ball. I'm speaking tongues. 95. He has 95 IQ. Oh my God, dude. Flip forward. Which way did you flip? Like, come on, bro. I flip forward. Forward. I flip. That's a front flip. Forward. He could have said flip, like do a diagonal flip while going towards the ball. That's all you need to do, you fucking goose. Just say this. Just say diagonal flip. Just say this. Say, do a diagonal flip towards the ball. That's all he needed to say. I'm just following what he's saying word for word. Flip forward? Okay. Oh my Lord, dude. I even tried that in good faith.
That's it. After you do this, pause. Tell me something. Which way did you naturally flip when going for it? If you tend to flip right, then arrow right will likely feel more intuitive. And if you tend to flip left...
Yeah, again, so this is a claim. There is no correlation between what he's saying. Nobody can prove that. Just like I talk about angular momentum, but angular momentum still needs to be proven, right?
Then arrow left.
But at least I'm saying something that exists in real life. Angular momentum is a physics thing that exists in real life. He's just literally making shit up, dude. So he makes shit up about tutorials saying to just feel it. That's not what tutorials say. They just say random bullshit, but they don't just tell you to feel it. They say more. But obviously, he doesn't say that tutorials tell you to go upright and downright only, because that's what he's done in 6 videos. So he's just literally... So he's guilty of something, but he's going to throw out the guilt on something else, which is highly fucking cowardice of him. Jesus Christ. I used to watch Spook Luke. I think that ends here. Dude, if you used to watch Spook Luke, I'm guessing you're not an adult now, but any adult with critical thinking knows what this guy is. This guy is nothing more than a joke, a phony, and if I was not laughing about what I'm doing right now, I would be crying. Holy
if you can't
shit.
Decide, just pick left. Most pros
If you can decide, just pick left. Computer broken.
And for
Oh my
some
Lord,
reason,
man.
Everyone thinks left is more mechanical than right. I don't know what's up with that, but for the purposes of...
Oh, how about you give your actual opinion and you say that that's not true? Are you kidding? Wait, hold on, please. Don't tell me he said pro says that.
Intuitive. If you can't decide, just pick left. Most pros use left, and for some reason, everyone thinks left is...
Oh my God. So here's the argument. Most pros use left. That's why I hate this game's community. Because everyone's so focused on doing what the pros do when the pros themselves, and listening to the pros, when the pros themselves don't even know jack shit of what they're doing. They're just great at doing it. Which is great, right? I'm not, it's great to be great at something. But that doesn't give you legitimacy to explain it, then shut the fuck up.
mechanical than right.
This is why Lostfell's my favorite streamer. Dude, like,
But for the purposes of this video,
it's 13 minutes in. My blood pressure is 17/12.
with left. Now, for the binding itself.
Oh my God.
Standard setup is putting air roll on L1 or LB along with power slide.
Oh my God, I feel like slapping you right in the face. Holy shit, this takes so long, dude. That's only 2 minutes. Oh, it feels like an eternity. Let's move on. Hold on. Didn't he just say... Where is there another chapter called air roll left or air roll right? He just talked about it, right?
Advantage really only comes out when we look at precise mechanics like flip resets that require you really ball on both the left wall and the right wall in the air, and it makes them... This gives them complete...
Oh my God. Did he just say to use both air rolls?
Probably not. Only you can decide. Now let's talk about one final air roll question. One air roll versus two. The most mechanical...
One. Just do one. Unless you're a pro player, unless you play 100 hours a fucking week, unless you're a streamer, unless you have a lot of talent in the game, just learn one air roll. It's highly sufficient. And he's going to say so that you can jump from both walls. This is a stupid argument. If you're good enough at one air roll, you will be jumping from both walls with only one air roll and be really good at it. That's the whole point of mastering something. That you don't need to change it just because one variable changes.
Players in the world use both air roll left and air roll right. This gives them complete 360-degree control in the...
No, it doesn't. No, well, I mean, the car... What do you mean 360-degree? I have 360-degree because of air roll already. My car makes a fucking turn over itself. This is 360-degree. What you might say is that if you want to do like, I don't know, if you want to get a reset on the so-called easy wall, which is the left wall for me, I get a reset more easily because I have to take the reset earlier in the first revolution of the car. This is my video called the part 1 of the wall to air dribble, the wall to air setup, right? So this isn't a non-argument. So I don't know why he says that doing both air roll gives you 360-degree control. That's literally the point of having only one air roll. So I don't really understand what the fuck he's referencing right now.
The air, and it makes them quick to the ball on both the left wall and the
Yeah.
right wall, which
He says while getting fucking, sped on.
does give you marginal gains if you know how to use both from both walls. Correct?
No, it doesn't.
Practically speaking, this advantage really only comes out when we look at precise
Yeah, that's why. So the ratio of utility slash difficulty to learn, if you want to learn both air rolls, the ratio of utility versus the slash difficulty to learn is very low. That's why you don't need to learn both. Like, you don't need to learn both. Yeah, but Lostfell, if you go on the left wall, you can get your reset sooner, and if you're a pro player, blah, 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 blah. Listen, if you're a pro player, you're going to get challenged before you go for a reset. And even if that was not the case, learning and mastering the completely opposite air roll just to do a reset quicker is not worth it. It's just not. There's not everything is black and white in life. You have to weigh the things, and the ratio of utility to difficulty of learning and mastering is extremely low. That's why you don't want to learn both air rolls unless you're a pro player, unless you're highly talented, unless you're a content creator, and even if you're all those things, you don't need. It's not mandatory to learn both. Okie dokie. Thank you, Spookluke.
Flip resets that require your car to be rolled a certain way. Apart from flip resets,
I don't
you
understand.
can shoot with air roll left or air roll right. That doesn't really matter. To help
What?
you decide whether this change is worth it at your rank, let me put this in perspective.
What's your video about wall to air, please? I've only made one video. It's the part 1. It doesn't give you the setup. I need to do the part 2 with the setup. The part 1 is just me talking about the myth of the easy wall and the hard wall. It's on my channel.
As you now know, at our company, we have standard practices. And one of these standard practices is we don't recommend a second air roll until a player is approaching the 10,000 hour mark. Yes?
Yeah, so that's... I mean, I can understand why you would want to put a mark in this, but if you like look at Athena, you guys know Athena, the girl streamer. She has like fucking 16,000 hours, and she's shit at the game, and she has not even learned one air roll. So the mark of the number of hours that you've played the game is not a good thing to do, because people are different. Some people have more talent than others. I understand that you want to do an average. I also speculate on average things, but it's dangerous to say this in like such a big tutorial. In economics, it's called the cost-benefit analysis. Don't waste your time for such little gain. Yeah, cost-benefit. Yes, thank you. That's what I mean. Thank you, James. So the cost-benefit of learning 2 air rolls is really fucking low. You're the only reason I know how to wall dash. Some people overcomplicated it, but you made it so simple. Yeah, because some people make tutorials without understanding and analyzing what it is, what it does. A wall dash is nothing more than a side flip. Nothing more.
You heard me right. Not 1,000, 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
So
So basically, you're telling people, oh, you're going to be able to do that in about 5 to 6 years. It took me 5 years, almost 5 years, to get 7,000 hours.
for 99.9% of you watching, focus on mastering one directional air roll. This alone will take you
Only good advice is given.
200,
15 minutes in.
if not thousands of hours to truly master. So you should just get ridiculously good with one to start out.
Yeah.
And only then should you think about learning the second.
Yeah, but by the time you're so good at only using one, you're going to realize that you don't need to learn the other one. There we go.
I would say find one and keep your normal air roll. I would consider it a mistake where people get rid of their normal air roll and put on, you know, right and left and try to get good at both. I think that's a mistake.
Now, this doesn't mean you can't bind both air rolls from the start. I think there's totally benefit to doing that. But when it comes to practicing, practice one air roll. Get it?
Yeah, but please use the word when you want to air roll as a flying technique, because otherwise people get don't know what they're talking about here. People get confused. Like, I use air roll left as a flying technique, but I also have my air roll right binded because I don't have free air roll. So to do recoveries like this and to do air roll shots, right? Where's the ball? Shit. To do air roll shots from the right side, I use air roll right. See what I mean? Holy shit, that was a weak shot.
Mastered, then move on to the next. Okay, now that we have our
Okay, what's the next chapter? Key positions. Oh my god. Is he going to talk about the 67.5 degree thing?
roll bindings set up, let's focus on the 3 key reference positions.
Yeah, because so far, let's say something. It's 16 minutes in. We've only talked about the so-called 8 corners method, but that's it. That's it, dude. That is it. When I start the video, if you go to the method part at like the 40-minute margin, we literally start, like from second 1, we start going into it.
That will
Be ready, okay.
Foundation.
Oh my god. He's going to call this grounded, this perfect position, and this the 67.5 or something.
Air roll.
That's the 67.
To crack the code on air roll.
Crack the code. So he's using, those clickbait words, right? Crack the code. Get insanely good, pierce the secret, open the tomb, you'll fuck your brains out. He uses those terms, right?
When it comes to ranked purposes.
We don't care about ranked. This is why this guy is shit. You're teaching people a skill. Can you not teach it within context? When you learn any kind of sport, no teacher tells you, well, during a game, blah, blah, blah. No, he just teaches you how to do a fucking backhand in tennis. If you're good at doing backhands, you're going to be good at doing them in games. Nobody who teaches you how to do a backhand says, well, when you do this during a game, what's going to happen is that blah, 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 goddamn, diggity, dang, dong, bitch ass, motherfucker, damn. Nobody, right? Just teach the mechanic raw for what it is. Stop talking about rank all the time. Not everyone who wants to learn air roll does it for rank purposes. Why do you have this misconception that everything has to be related to fucking ranks? Oh my god, I'm going to swear so much in this video.
Winning your games, there are exactly 3 key reference.
Oh, there we go.
you need to
Oh my
understand.
god.
Number one,
This is like plagiarism from my video, but I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm not even gonna strike him because this is so shit. It would be an insult for my video to consider that this crap hole is remotely close to what I've done.
one, the grounded position is simple.
Grounded. Okay, we'll just call it what it is. You can call it parallel to the ground. You can call it horizontal. Why do you say grounded position? So he didn't want to say the same thing I did because I basically got the better word, horizontal. It's the main word. So he made his own word up just to sound different. But he really wishes he could say horizontal. But if he did, he would be scared that I would strike his ass because, yes, I have the rights to my video.
Are wheels down like you're driving normally. This is your starting point on the ground for any jump or aerial. It's worth noting that these reference positions apply whether you're in the air or on the ground, so you can be in the grounded state in the air.
Yeah, so which then sounds contradictory.
That sounds confusing, but
Yeah, no, it's not confusing. The proper term is contradictory. It's not confusing per se, my dear Spooky Luco. I wish I could spank your ass. Yo, I'm grounded, but I'm grounded in the air right now. And wait, what? You're what? I'm sorry, I'm grounded in the air. What do you mean I'm grounded? Well, I'm grounded to the ground, but I'm in the air. You mean horizontal? Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm in horizontal, dude.
in a second. Number
Jesus
two,
Christ.
the flying position. This is when your car
The
is
flying position.
completely vertical in the air.
Okay. So, by definition, if this is when my car is perfectly vertical and perpendicular to the ground, if I go like this, I'm not in flying position. This is not me flying, guys. I'm just, I'm kind of teasing right now, but that's the point. That's the point. When you want to make rules as general truths, you better beware that someone doesn't contradict you. So what I'm doing right now is I'm not in flying position, even though I am flying and doing a reset on this ball. This is not my flying position. This is not flying position. This is not. Do you know what I mean? Stupid terminology. Idiotic, retarded, moronic terminology right there.
Nose pointed to the sky. This is the ideal reference position for learning airroll mechanics because it's the cleanest starting point for understanding the animations. That's why I taught this position to you.
Yeah.
Our 8 corners method.
Now, no, but now that you put it like that, it all makes sense, dude. I get you, dude. I'm so stupid. My bad. Flying position. Okay. Flying position. I'm working my muscle memory right now. Flying. Oh, wait. No. Lostfeld. Flying. Yes. Flying position. Okay, I'm ready to learn. Should I go right? Oh, I'm going to the wall. What's happening? Wait, what? Wait, flying position. I'm flying position right now. Look, it works. I'll just press arrow. Oh my god, I'm a master. I am a master at this. Let me do an air dribble while doing this. You ready? Wait, hold on. Let me just go back to the ground. Oh shit, well I missed this one. Let me try again. Flying position. I'm not touching the ball. Jesus, what am I doing?
Finally, number 3, the neutral position. This
Oh! It's funny. Oh wait, this is my favorite one. This is the 67.5. Is he going to say it?
when your car is in the air, but slightly tilted forward, like you just jumped and tilted back a bit. This is the most common position you'll find yourself in ranked.
No, oh my god, again with the rank bullshit. No, like every arrow is different. So what if the ball is at the far end and nobody's going for it and I go instantly? Like this is me. I'm not being in this position right now. I'm more horizontal because I need more speed. See, he's trying to put things into boxes. Dude, 95 IQ, I swear to God. He's trying to put things into boxes, right? But the problem is that he's trying to put variables into boxes. So when you change the variable, everything crumbles. Do you know what I mean?
Now, I'll explain why 67.5 degrees is this magic number later.
So 67.5 degrees, you heard it from the master. And it's a magical position, okay? It's magical. It's going to make your farts look like rainbows. It's magical, dude.
But the main thing that you need to remember is that the neutral position is not perfectly straight up when flying. It's got a slight tilt.
Yeah.
These
The uselessness of this is just astounding, dude.
3 reference points
Oh
are
my
critical
god.
because
So basically he's going to ask you to learn all of the 8 inputs from the corner methods to all of those 3 angles of the verticality of the car.
they're the starting positions for all the foundational movements that I'll be teaching you later on.
Wait, is this fundamental movements or is this also advanced people? I don't understand anymore. I thought this was for advanced people also. I play with a protractor so I can measure the angle of my car before I airball. Jesus
Once
Christ.
you get to a
Why?
couple thousand hours, you'll probably venture away from these adjustments, but mastering air roll from each of these will give you control in 90% of game situations.
No. It will not. And you know why? Because pressing 1 input per revolution is not how you fly. I mean, you can, but it's very basic. So obviously you will not use basic things depending on the rank that you're playing at. If you do those things maybe in silver, maybe that's going to work for a few aerials, but not for all of them. And if you play in like C3 to SSL, this is just not going to be enough. Oh my, this showcases the lack of knowledge, like the ignorance of this guy. He still thinks that it's 1 input per revolution, that it's micro adjustments.
That's why these reference positions are foundational. By the way, if you want to get more help from
How many times is it going to change outfits, dude?
me and my team one-on-one, drop me a DM on Discord with the keyword ARL. My team and I would love to help you save time learning air rolls.
Yes, I'm sure you would, dude. How much is it per session, though? 110 euros. Okay. $110. Okay, I get you. No, but I'm so thankful that you want to help me, though.
Link up even faster like Chaotic did. I'll have my Discord first link below. That's keyword ARL to work with my team one-on-one, and let's do it.
How much? Just say the price, buddy, because your team is not gonna do that for free.
Step 2, tornado spinning. Why?
+2 plug. What is plug? What does
Why
plug
is
mean?
Tornado spin the foundation of air roll?
What?
Because it's where air rolling is most efficient and flexible from. When you're
Wait, what?
in a neutral position, you're able to do anything from 1 input. You've essentially made the whole game very easy for yourself. You know, a lot of people make a big mistake.
That's just saying things.
They move their analog stick all around and just try to fly through rings. But when you're making a consistent input every time, you've essentially created consistency in your habit from the way you've learned it. And
Well, you can also do that by doing circles. First of all, which direction are the circles? Because either they're reverse clocks, or they're clocks or double reverse clocks, feedback loops. Okay? And that doesn't mean that the inputs we're making are not good. If anything, I have more chance of doing the right input, because on top of that, I have feeling over the car now. So I know that if I do this, I can feel that if I do this input, it's the right thing to do. Oh, it means advertising. Okay. So this guy is a retired pro. He made no sense. Listen to what he says. Let's listen to the conversation again, dude.
Tornado spinning. Why is tornado
Tornado spin?
foundation of
Why is tornado spin the foundation of air roll?
air roll?
Listen to what he says. So why is this? Okay, why is this the foundation of air roll? This is the foundation of air roll.
because it's where
where
air rolling is most efficient and flexible from.
So it's where air rolling is more flexible and efficient from. That makes no sense. No sense. Every input has its own utility. Maybe it's more efficient because it's 1 input that can raise your nose up, compared to pressing left, reverse tornado spin, which is your nose going down. If you do an aerial, are you going to be so fucking stupid with no common sense that you're going to press down, or are you going to press right? I mean left, or are you going to press right? Obviously, you want to raise your nose up, so anything that raises your nose is going to be at least better than things that don't put your nose up. Then you have to add the horizontality of it, which input makes you go up while going there. And again, even the pro player right now, he's talking as though inputs were micro adjustments. It's like those guys, what they're implying, let me get this straight. What they're implying is that if I press, let's say, upright, I'm going to go there. From neutral position. Let's do it from neutral position. Right? No. You have to talk about the direction, the first direction that the car goes to on the first time you press the input. And then if you keep the input, you're going to go straight. Like, this is basic fucking knowledge. Tornado spin, it doesn't make you turn any direction when you press it with boost because the wheels are not locked. So when you press up, the wheels are locked. Like here, the front right wheel and the back left wheel, they're locked. So when you start, the car is locked in a diagonal axis, which makes you not go straight when you boost. And the opposite wheels, top left and back right, are going to be locked when you press down. That's why you turn. And when you press right or left, like tornado spin and reverse tornado spin, the car is not cut in the middle. So you go straight. Do you understand? It's not a directional input. So you have to look at what the inputs do when you first start pressing them. But to say that tornado spin gives you more flexibility and efficiency, what the fuck are we talking about here? Every input does its own thing. Just because you don't use it as much doesn't mean that there's better inputs than others. It's just common sense. Would you fly in the air while pressing inputs that make you go down? No, unless you need to go down. That doesn't mean that the inputs that make you go down are bad inputs or less efficient. That means that we don't use them as much because we want to keep height. It's not about being efficient. It's about using common sense. You know what I mean? So let's see what he says again.
When you're in a neutral position,
okay, neutral position,
you're able to do anything from one input.
I mean, what? You're able to do anything from one input on any position, to be honest with you. I don't understand why he talks about that neutral position.
You've essentially made the whole game very easy for yourself. You know, a lot of people...
Again, he's talking about micro adjustments, which is not a thing.
People make a big mistake. They move their analog stick all around and just like try to...
How is this a mistake if we make it work? What's your dead zone? I don't want to say my dead zone because it's not good for you. Because I have a high dead zone because I don't have a square dead zone, but I want to do delayed musties. So I have a higher dead zone than you would have. So don't copy mine. I have 0.30, 0.50, which is really, really high. So again, if people make something work, maybe they're also right. Like he says turning the joystick, but look, this is a retired pro. A retired pro player, dude. One of the best in the game. He doesn't even take the time, or he's not even aware of what direction they make you turn. You can turn your joystick and go straight by doing clocks. You can turn your joystick and not go straight at all by doing reverse clocks. How are those things not efficient? If you cannot prove to me why feedback loops are not efficient, don't talk about them. And then, how can you say that reverse clocks are not good when reverse clocks, right, which are continuous inputs, make your car turn more than if you just press one input? See, if I want to go to the right while using one input, this is as fast as I can go, as far as I can go to the right. It's about 45 degrees, right? It's about 45 degrees, right? But then if I do a reverse clock from the same input, I literally do a 180. So turning the joystick is how you fly. I don't know what this guy's talking about.
Fly through rings, but when you're making a consistent input every time, you've essentially created consistency in your habit from the way you've learned it, and then you're just automatically better and more consistent.
That makes no, do you understand what he's saying? He's saying nonsense. He's talking about muscle memory.
As time goes on, you've kind of given yourself a higher...
How does this answer the question, why is tornado spin the foundation input?
floor.
Let's address...
What do you mean? So do you know what I mean? That's exactly... I have no hate towards anyone except for Spook Luke, actually. But pro players, just because they're pro doesn't mean they're smarter than you. Have you seen some of the pros speak? They sound like they've read one book in their lives, and it was a manga. Okay? So can we not just ask pro to explain things? Just because you're great at something doesn't mean that you know what you're doing, let alone that you can explain it in clear words and clear thinking. What he just said, first of all, he did not answer the question of why is tornado spin one of the fundamental input. He literally did not answer the question, right? He said that it gives you more flexibility and efficiency, which is not true. And I've already said why. Then he talks about making circles on the joystick. I'm pretty sure Spook Luke told him about the feedback loops, right? And he doesn't say which direction, so we don't know if it's feedback loops or we don't know if it's reverse clocks. If it's feedback loops, then it makes no sense because you cannot prove why. And if it's reverse clocks, it makes no sense because it's just wrong. Okay? My record on Neon High Rings is 853 with feedback loops. You know?
The elephant in the room. The reason most players struggle with air roll is because they're told it's just a feel thing.
Okay, so again, that's what I said before. So this guy's argument is that other tutorials are shit when they say it's just a feel thing. First of all, this guy, Spooky Luke, has already said it himself in other videos. And on top of that, he's projecting the bad things that he said, which is basically go up, right, down, right. And he's not even mentioning it. So he's blaming other people of doing something that's wrong, but he doesn't even mention the fact that he also was wrong in all of his videos, which I think is a very cowardish move, if you ask me.
Go into rings maps and
of course it's a feeling thing, but of course making a tutorial to say just figure it out for yourself, it's a feeling thing, is not making a good tutorial. In the end, it's a feeling thing because it's nothing more than muscle memory. But muscle memory can be done by doing specific patterns that you can create your muscle memory on, and those patterns have specific endeavors, specific goals, right? Like if I want to get vertical right now, I know I can do like either like a half reverse clock, or what would be even better if I kept doing the reverse clock to 3/4 like this, and now I'm going vertical. If you tell me that this is not a pattern, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you, but you're wrong, and you gotta get checked by a doctor. If I tell you that I can go to the left by doing the same thing, and just changing the rhythm, so I feel what I'm doing right now because it's muscle memory, right? No, but I'm here to shit on this guy, you know, and Panadas. I'm here to shit on him. Does Dead Zone help on DAR? I mean, Dead Zone is gonna affect the way your joystick responds. So, I don't know if there's a binary answer. Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know.
you'll eventually get it. As we've established, that is terrible advice given by people who don't know how to teach, or who are lazy, or both.
It's insane. Do you understand the irony of him saying that when he's made all of his error videos say go up, right, down, right, and then in all of his videos he says with his fake ass laugh, he goes, I know you guys have been asking me for the secret that I was supposed to tell you, but I'm gonna tell you in the next video. And then he makes another video. He says, okay guys, you wanted the secret to arrows, I'm gonna give it to you. So you know, if you can go up right and down right, that's all you need to do to arrow. It's so fucking ironic that he has the audacity to trash on other people when he's the worst human being on this planet to do those things. Like, this guy deserves... Oh, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say... I don't want to get banned. Let's just say if I was in front of him, somehow he would have to walk away. Okay? I'm going to leave that to your imagination.
Not only is this approach a waste of time at best, at worst, it creates bad habits and randomness.
Bad habits? You know what? I'm thinking of something right now. It just occurred to me. Maybe bad habits come from the fact that people teach something they don't themselves understand. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It's just a thought, you know? It's just a thought. Micro adjustments? Fuck me, right? Jesus Christ.
In your gameplay. Without foundation, you lack a performance floor, causing you...
We don't understand. Like, this is useless. This sentence was useless.
To be inconsistent in ranked situations.
So now, okay, mate, again with the ranked situations, what a fucking idiot. That's because he's trying to sell people on becoming grand champion. He's so focused on rank, he doesn't even know what the fucking tutorial is. Unless the tutorial is about, you know, how to get better with positioning, there's no tutorial that... Like, tutorials are just here to teach you something. They're not a promise that you will turn grand champion.
When you don't understand tornado spins, you'll be peaking one day, then looking like a fish out of water the next.
But why is he so focused on tornado spin? This guy's you know, this is why this guy is so stupid, right? So listen. This is a tornado spin. This is a cuxer spin. up and down, or where they used to be called Cuxer spins, right? This name didn't really stick. You know why? Because it's not as good as tornado spin. And so because there's a word for it, people think it's important. But in reality, tornado spins are a bit useless, right? Just like any other input in themselves, they're a bit useless, right? On top of that, like, tornado spin is not going to make you turn. So this guy doesn't even understand that the reason he's so focused on tornado spins is because his brain made a confirmation bias to talk about them because there's a name for it. If Cuxer spins were still out, if people still called up and down Cuxer spins and tornado spin didn't have a word for it, right now he would be talking about Cuxer spins. Yeah. I mean, you can make many analogies on Spook Luke, right? But he's a dishonest person, deeply dishonest. Either he's very dishonest as a person, or he's very stupid. And I mean, like, I'm not gonna say Forrest Gump, right? But this guy he's not very witty, right? His IQ is not really high, which is okay, right? It's okay not to be the smartest guy in the room, but don't speak as though you are. Do you know what I mean? And don't try to teach people something you can't even fathom yourself. Like, he started this method with the 8 corners method. He was so dumb he called the 8 corners method a method when it's just an observation. That's how fucking flawed he is from the get-go. He doesn't even know English, dude.
And you actually won't know why your car is moving one way or the other. So let's get into...
Bro, what's the point with trash talking every YouTuber that have different approach? Because they're wrong, and on top of being wrong, this guy is famous for being a scammer. Yeah. Several method is my learning point. Again, someone who thinks he's the greatest something and say it loud, man, he's not really the best at it. Well, that's just making a stupid assumption. To say that by claiming to be something that means you're another thing, that's a stupid way to see things. Right? I trash talk people who do bad tutorials. When someone brings me a good tutorial, I will say it's good. The fact that you cannot handle the fact that I criticize is your own problem. Do you know what I mean? That's your problem, but it's not mine. I'm just doing the Lord's work here. Everyone knows. Everyone agrees with me on this. Everyone knows this guy is a shit coach and a scammer. People have made videos about this guy. Okay? So don't come at me when I'm the one trying to defend people from listening to this douchebag just because you can't handle the fact that you don't like me criticizing others. You know, criticizing is healthy if it's done for legitimate reasons. You should be thanking me that I'm calling this bastard out. Do you know what I mean? Credence? And if you had questions about my method, you could have asked them instead of going to other people's. Because I did the only method per se. Do you know what I mean? So I don't mean to be rude, but if you can't handle the fact that I criticize, that's your problem.
into it.
Moving on.
Pull out your controller, and I want you to think of this device, or if you're KBM.
It's crazy that you would blame me for doing what I'm doing when this guy's been misleading people for at least 5 years and making them pay thousands of dollars to become grand champion. There's even a testimony of someone who said, I cannot pay because my wife's gonna kill me, and they still managed to make the guy pay, right? I know what I'm talking about because I've worked hard on it. I should not hide myself from being hard, and I should not be afraid of people calling me vain or presumptuous because I claim to know what I'm talking about. Do you know what I mean? So if you can't handle the fact that I criticize people for right reasons, then what you're doing is you're questioning right or wrong, and you're questioning criticizing. And that's something you should ask yourself, but not me, because I know what I'm doing and I know what I'm saying.
This whole guide will work.
What's the point? What's the point of saying that someone's wrong? To prevent other people from believing the wrong person. So again, you are most welcome for my hard effort right now. You know, I just wanted to stream and play, but now I'm doing this because it makes people happy that I do that. So you're welcome, I guess.
For you too.
What an ungrateful comment, dude. To make me pass like the bad guy when I'm the good guy. Just because I'm passionate about what I do does not mean that I'm the bad guy. Okay? Do you know what I mean?
I want you to think of this joystick as your piano key.
Okay.
And when combined with arrow left, you have 8 keys. And when combined with arrow right, you have 8 more keys. So
hasn't he said that like 3 times already?
I've given you the 16 keys to play air roll.
So no, again, no. So that implies that those keys are how you do air roll, or how you air roll. So that means that you imply that every input that you're making, it's like when I do a reverse clock, It's like implying that every input I'm making right now, I'm doing them consciously separately, which is not true. When I do a half reverse clock, I'm making one continuous input consciously, but not all of those inputs, this one and 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 this one is this one. Not all of those inputs are conscious. Do you understand what I mean? So this micro adjustment thing is bullshit.
You would play any musical instrument. And
He
all
brought
the
out the
animations
piano.
Are in the Airroll cheat sheet. But imagine right now if I just dropped you and said, thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe so we can get to 1 million subs.
Yeah, okay. Honestly, I wouldn't mind it, because this is just a lot of bullshit right there. You know what I mean? I wouldn't mind it.
That would be the equivalent of telling somebody who wants to learn piano, here are the piano keys, just smack them until you can play like Mozart. Absurd.
No, well, not really, to be fair. What you've done is not only to tell people to figure it out for themselves so far, you've also been saying some wrong things. So it would be saying that a black key is a white key, for instance. Do you know what I mean? He's trying to milk the animation sheet to justify the amount of money he spent on it. Yeah. I mean, it's so useless. You can just do it with your eyes. You can do an aerial practice, what's it called? Aerial practice map, aerial rotation practice map or something like that. And it's this one. You can do the same thing by going on, I think it's called aerial practice. What is it called? Aerial rotation practice. You can go on this map and figure out for yourself what the inputs do. Right, so you're like this, and you're like, let me do a tornado spin. Ah, okay. Now let me do the same thing, but while pressing up. So let me get like this, and I press up. Okay. The fact is, I really enjoy watching your method, and I find it really helpful to intellectually understand what Airroll is about. It's not only intellectual. I give you exercises at the end. Like everything that I say is the exercise at the end. Saying this is the only way to learn is factually wrong. Incorporating airrolling in real games to improve is a totally different story. Yeah, I did not talk about the ball in the video, did I? I just teach you how to airroll. I'm not supposed to be responsible for you training with the ball. I'm just teaching you the flying technique. I think that's good enough already. Don't make me say don't make it sound like I claim to do things or that I don't claim to do things. Do I talk about the ball in the video? Do I teach you how to do an air dribble? No. So I don't know what you're talking about right now. I teach you the flying technique. I think that's sufficient. Like, do I have to hold your penis while you pee? Or can you do that by yourself? You know what I mean? So just go on this map and you have the same result as the cheat sheet.
Right? Yet many pros claim that they learn
And
this
yes,
way.
it's the best one. Just so we're clear. My video is the only one to teach it objectively. That is a fact. The fact that you don't like me saying that and that you want to make me sound like an asshole for saying that is your problem. But objectively speaking, my video is the best because it talks about it analyzes how airroll works in a practical, systematic way. It gives you exercises to train your muscle memory on. It talks about Rocket League in general. It talks about the flying technique of airroll in general. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I feel like you just want to be here to criticize the fact that I'm criticizing. Which is your thing, right? But it doesn't really interest me.
Because it's all they had at the time. And by no means am I discounting these pros, but what I'm saying is, if you're not a child prodigy, probably not the best way to learn. You need structure and a foundation. So what is the called piano key you're going to play the most in ranked? Answer, it's tornado spins.
You're right, because when I do those things, right? Because when I do an air dribble, what I'm mostly doing is doing tornado spins, right? He makes it sound like inputs are magical inputs. You just press the input like that, and you kind of follow the ball, right? Which is, as you can see, not the case, right? And I do really clean air dribbles. I think I try to touch the joystick as least as I can, and yet, am I doing? Well, that was not a clean aerial, but am I doing a tornado spin? No, like he does. I don't understand why he talks about tornado spin so much. I really don't. He has a hard-on for tornado spin. Yeah, I mean, I don't get it, dude.
Tornado spin isn't just some flashy move. It's the absolute core of directional airroll.
Is it? So by saying that, by saying that he's putting hierarchy of of like efficiency on inputs, which is again not true. If there's a hierarchy, it's a hierarchy that's based on utility, and the utility is based on the common sense. Do you want to press reverse tornado inputs when you're in the air? No, you don't want to do that because that's going to bring your nose down. So the hierarchy is not because one input is better than the other. It's because out of common sense, you can understand that those inputs, you don't want to press them unless you want specific situations, right? Maybe if you're going for a ceiling shot and then you bump on the ceiling and you go down, maybe if you want to help yourself doing a reverse tornado spin when you go down, like that's your thing, you can do that, right? But putting a hierarchy of inputs, saying that there's better ones, is just not true.
Without understanding...
What about console users? Well, you have to bring that up to Psionics, my man.
That's like trying to learn calculus without knowing addition. Definition time.
No, it's a false analogy.
Is a tornado spin. A tornado spin...
So it's 20 minutes in. He's been talking about that for so long. He says that he's been using ChatGPT for tens of hours to understand tornado spin. Just imagine, dude. For a useless input to learn to spend 10,000 of hours on tornado spin. Like he just saw tornado spin and he thought to himself, he made basically a confirmation bias where he thought to himself, this must be the key.
Is the most popular of the 16 adjustments.
Yeah, why? Why is it the most popular? Because it bears a cool name, dude. If pressing up was called tornado spinning, he would be putting his joystick up right now. He would be doing this. And then he would say reverse tornado spin is when you press down. Like this. All right? It's not it's if it's popular, it's because it's a word that's catchy basically. Right? Like case in point, before I knew that this was called directional air roll, I thought that was called tornado spinning. Which makes sense because we're doing a tornado and we're spinning. Like every input is a tornado spin, right? In itself. Do you know what I mean?
And it's the only one with a name. You can do a tornado.
No, it's not the only one with a name. How do you... Didn't he claim he was going to do a history of air roll? Didn't he claim he was going to do a history of air roll? He claimed it, didn't he? There was a name for up and down before. We don't use it because it's not as catchy as tornado spin. But I think it was called Coxer spins.
Spin two ways, using either arrow left or arrow right. For
Oh my
arrow
God.
left users,
Are we really going to learn this 20? So this is almost half the method, like the video, and we're only talking about tornado spins now.
hold arrow left and push your joystick to the right. For
Wow.
arrow right users, hold arrow
I
right.
cannot believe we spent 20 minutes for
push your
this.
joystick to the left. Here's where most players struggle. They
If he had been smart in the forming of his method of his video, he would have put that before the 8 corners method. Do you know what I mean? Cuxer twist, yes, thank you very much. Cuxer twists. So why didn't he put this before the 8 corners method? Do you know what I mean? This is why my video, by the way, Credence, is better, because from what I say and the order and the way I say them, it's good order. It's a good choice. What he's doing right now, he's talking about something here, then he talks a little bit here, and then we literally start talking about it here. This should have been before all of those things.
try to use directional air roll like normal air roll, fighting against the natural rotation instead of using it to their advantage.
That's common sense. So like, he's literally describing people who beat around the bush, and then he says something that's common sense. No, you know what? Let's do something for stupid reasons that are not efficient. You know why? I don't know. But just for fun, maybe. Like, what are you talking about? He talks to people as though they're stupid. I hate that.
So let's look at how tornado spins behave from each of our 3 key reference positions.
Oh my
So you
God.
can-
So all of this is going to lead to you learning all of the inputs for each reference point, as he calls them, right? So now he's going to say now that when you're grounded, you go straight. When you're perfectly neutral, you go backwards. And when you're 67.5 degree, you go up, vertical. Which, again, is a stupid thing to say. Again, he's trying to make constants out of variables. Which is stupid. It's a waste of time, and that's going to... I teach people to learn about a bit less than 16 inputs. Just by doing what he's doing, You have to learn 3 times 8, which is 24 inputs out of like by heart out of muscle memory. Do you know what I mean? He's already asking you to learn many more, like much more things than I do.
Learn how to use tornadoes, not get lost in them. Let's start with the grounded state.
There we go.
This is when you're
So this is going. You're gonna go forward.
flat, like you're driving on the ground, wheels down, and you
You're gonna go, I believe, like 45 degree in the air. Well, not even, because the gravity is pulling you in. So let's say you're doing this and then you do that. Yeah, gravity is pulling you in anyway.
jump into the air. This is the starting point for most aerials. From this position, executing a tornado spin will immediately lift your nose upward. This is why it's so powerful for...
So he doesn't say how long he keeps the input, because if you listen to him, you're like, wait, when am I going up then? Oh, and then you figure like when you're up, you let go of the joystick. He doesn't say how long. Do you understand? That's a problem right there. So air roll, when you use directional air roll, you're gonna have to work on pitch and yaw. I mean on what's it called? Well, horizontality and verticality, right? And air roll is not just about pressing a magical input. It's what input you're doing and how long you're doing it for. That's what matters. So when he says that tornado spin is going to make me go up, unless I have the common sense to figure that it's when my nose is going as vertical as it can during the tornado spin, unless I do that, I'm going to think that, well, if I do this, what happens? I'm not going up, am I? I'm going down now. Do you know what I mean?
For gaining height.
So what he did is that he let go of the air roll now. So now he's going up, right? Actually, I think he did more than an air roll, to be honest with you. I think he did this. He did a reverse clock. If you watch, I didn't say it because I didn't dare to do it, but I'm gonna dare. If you watch what he does.
Point for most aerials. From this position, executing a tornado spin will immediately...
I'm not sure that
lift
what verticality did he get here?
From this position, executing a...
He's going like 45 degrees. Okay, now that's maybe about right. But I cannot go higher than that.
Spin will immediately lift your nose upward.
Look at this. Look at this.
That's why it's so powerful for gaining height quickly at takeoff. Here's why this...
So, and by the way, if you do that, you're gonna be 50% in the revolution. Right? If I do this, now I'm flying backwards. So if you use continuous air roll and you do this, then you're lost. Whereas if you do this, you would go vertical by doing a reverse clock. And you will still work on your neutral revolution. Do you know what I mean? What do you mean calibrate? Forget about calibrating. It was one of my only mistakes.
This works from a technical perspective. When you hold arrow left, your joystick inputs are essentially reflected over a line y equals negative x in input space. This means
that's so hard to understand, bro.
pushing right, which would normally be yaw right, becomes a diagonal upward movement, giving you about...
So that's what he said in the 8 corners method.
45 degrees of vertical lift while simultaneously spinning.
Okay.
It's confusing. Don't...
So we saw that before he said it, right? We saw it was about 45 degree. So that's when you start, when you're grounded. But you see, what the problem I have here is that look at how high the car is right now. The car is high because he let go of the air roll and then he started flying upwards. He did this. Oh, shit. I can't do it. He did this and then he did this. So now he's flying higher. Right? But that's not what the input is going to do, especially if you hold it for one revolution. What I did is that I use constants. What does that do when I use one revolution? Okay, it makes my nose go up. That's one thing. It doesn't make me turn. That's the other thing. And I go straight. The reason I go down right now is because I don't have enough boost to counter gravity. So I can go straight by tilting my car a little bit and then doing this. Right? Well, that was too much. But if I just do this, for instance, I think that's going to be enough. Now I'm just go straight. I take a little height, of course, but... Do you know what I mean?
Don't worry, it won't be on the test. But here is a
Good one, Bo.
warning. Be careful about holding air roll while pressing jump in the air. If you hold air roll left and press jump at the same time, the game interprets this as a left
As a
dodge,
side flick,
causing
yeah.
you to barrel roll.
Why would we do that, though? Oh, because you want to double jump. Yeah, or you can just do a double jump before and then start air rolling. What are we talking about here? I'm not even sure what we're talking about anymore, to be honest with you. I just don't know what we're talking about. Anybody know what we're talking about now?
Same happens with air roll right.
Oh my God,
Barrel
fuck
roll
you.
weapon, that's why. Here's a quick exercise for you. I want you to do a tornado spin, but time it so that way you let go of the tornado halfway through. In other words,
Yeah.
we're going to release
So,
the joystick at the
See, that's analysis. I did that before.
apex height of the spin. This comes
He lost me at the piano.
180 degrees or halfway through. I want you to get this timing down to muscle memory because this is what we call a partial spin.
Yeah. So who calls it like that?
You're releasing your
Oh, he's just making up terminology. Okay, I thought he was saying people talk about this like that. So when you do that, then you're half revolution.
joystick
This guy has no idea of constants and tempo and rhythm. None.
before you return back to the starting position.
I feel like he did a video to kind of do like my video, but he didn't want to say things that I said in my video, so he tried to make up things to say, right? He tried to make up things to say to kind of follow the format of my video. But the problem is that, again, credence, because my video was the best about it. If you cannot really say anything without copying what I've said, because what I've said is not my opinion. It's what happens. It's objective physics of what happens in the game.
Now, let's see what happens when we tornado spin from the flying position. Recall, this is the state when the car is perfectly vertical.
Yeah, so you're going to go backwards.
Nose pointed straight up. From this position, if we execute the same tornado spin input, something completely different happens. Recall from the 8 corners demonstration at the start.
Yeah, you're
instead
going to
of
go
lifting
backwards.
Our nose further up, which isn't possible since we're already vertical, our car begins to tilt backward. This is all going to eventually make sense, but it's not.
Yeah, it's going to make sense because you're going to say that you have to learn all of the inputs on the joystick for 3 different positions, which means 24 inputs by heart, which is a bad thing to say, but,
super intuitive the first time you see it. This position dependent
Well, not just the first time you see it. It's not intuitive at all, even when you're trying to train it, because that's way too many things to train, and you're not focusing on what matters.
behavior means the same input can produce entirely different results depending on your starting position. It can be confusing,
Yeah.
but once you understand
So that means that maybe you should not learn that.
this pattern, it becomes predictable.
If you start to think like that, you're also going to start to think that you have to learn what each input does at every angle of the revolution of the car. And if you say there's 8 inputs and 8 angles of the revolutions, that's 8 times 8, 64, to which you add the 3 different verticalities. So that's 64 by 3. What is that? 3 x 12, 3 x 8, 3 x 24, 25. That's 252 inputs. That seems like a lot of things to learn.
And controllable. That's why I made you learn the
Is the video black and white? That's you.
reference positions first in the video. Finally, let's examine what happens from the neutral position.
So from neutral position, 67.5 degree, the car, drumroll, is going to go vertical, up.
Slightly tilted forward at 67.5 degrees of lift. This is where you'll find yourself
Watch it,
most
watch
often
it.
in actual gameplay.
You ready?
Flying at a ball up in front of your car. From this position, something magical happens with the tornado spin. Your car now revolves perfectly around a vertical pull. Jokes aside, I want you to understand mathematically why
That was funny. Yeah, here's trying to bring some mathematics in here to sound legitimate, I guess.
67.5 degrees is so special. Mathematically, this tilt aligns the combined vectors of roll, pitch, and yaw.
Okay, so again, what he did is that he based everything on false correlations, and he dug deep into them, so he found out that 67.5 degree. But again, that means that he's thinking that in order to go up, you have to have that verticality. First of all, how do you change your verticality of the car with air roll? He has not said that, right? How do you change verticality of your car with air roll? Because it's one thing to say you gotta have that position to go up. So what he's saying is that in order to go vertical, you have to do this. which is not true because you can literally just do this also, right? But one thing he hasn't talked about is how to change verticalities with air roll. That's the most important thing. It's the most important thing is to know how to change verticality with air roll, not without it. You're not gonna imagine you fly air roll and then you do this to change verticality. No, you use reverse clock to change verticality. Well, you can use up and down. It depends how far you are on the angle of the verticality of the car. But what you do mostly is that you use reverse clocks, right? So here I'm horizontal, reverse clock, I'm vertical. You want me to get more horizontal? Sure thing, buddy. Let me do this. So I'm like this, and I do this. Now I'm more horizontal. Vertical? Okay, sure thing. Let's do this. With reverse double clock, right? No, reverse double clock is a feedback loop. It makes you go straight. It doesn't make your nose turn. This is a reverse double clock. It's a feedback loop. Reverse clocks, which are slower than double reverse clocks, will make the nose turn many directions depending on where you start the input, how long you do it for, and how fast you do them. Okay?
In such a way that your car's nose traces a perfect
So
horizontal
now he's
circle.
saying that if you want to go vertical, you got to do this every time. Instead of telling us how to change verticalities, which is so much more important.
Like it's tethered to a pole
And that's because he's focused on this tornado spin thing.
orbiting it. Think of this revolving action as your own custom-built brake and gas pedal in the air. When your car is backwards, relative to the direction you're traveling, boost to slow down. When your car is facing forwards, boost to speed up.
Yeah. So he's saying that. So first of all, just to speed down and to slow up is really simple. Is you have to put your nose the opposite way and boost. Right. So if I'm going this way and I want to slow down, I put my nose the opposite way and I boost. Right. Okay. So that's just common sense. I don't know why people need to do that. That's common sense. I do this. I do that. I do this. I do that. What he's saying is that you can do a tornado spin, and if you want to speed up, you just have to press boost when the hood is facing you. So you go on this 67.5 bullshit thing, and then you do a tornado spin, and now I can choose either to speed up by pressing boost when the hood is facing me, or I can slow down when the nose is facing me. Right? Which you can do a little bit, right? But as you can tell, because you're making one input per revolution, a tornado spin, there's a limit to that. What he should have said is that he should have explained how to turn the car, basically, instead of saying those things. You want to slow down? Like you're going this way, you want to slow down? What do? You do a fast reverse clock. Oh, that's crazy. I did a 180 degree. Like I'm horizontal. Look at this. I'm horizontal. I'm going to do a reverse clock, a fast reverse clock starting from down. And I'm going to end up like this. Right? Watch this. You ready? Boom. Boom. Well, I get a boost while doing that. Otherwise, gravity is going to pull me in. But I do this. And boom. Reverse clock. Boom. 180. And that's how you slow down and how you speed up. That's how you do it. So if I'm going this way and I do a reverse clock with the right rhythm, I just slow down. When we do it again, boom. Again, boom. Again, boom. Again, boom. Again, boom. You don't slow down by putting your nose like this and holding tornado spin and then boosting like when the hood is facing me or the nose is facing me. That's not how you do it. Because when you do tornado spins, your car is making a circle. So the ass of the car is circling until a certain angle, like 45 degree, I believe. It's circling your car. So you will not, if you already have like speed somewhere, if you already have speed like this and you try to do what he says, this is not going to make, like, in order to slow down, you're going to have to press boost at a certain time for a short period of time, many times in a row during revolutions, which is going to mean that instead of slowing down like this, like one spot, you're going to have to do it, like it's going to have to be so slow. You're going to have to do this, boost now, and while you're not boosting, by the way, you're falling. I don't understand how he could say that and not understand what I've just said. if he had made his research and tried this out himself, he would have been able to prove himself wrong, and he would have noticed that, hey, this is not how to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, what the hell?
Simple, but the results are game-changing.
For example, during the course of a tornado spin, you reach a full 360. Like if you do a full tornado spin, you face every point. If I wanted to
Yeah, but that works for every input, not just the tornado spin. That works for every input. So what they're calling tornado spin, I call it one input per revolution. That what he just said, doing this or doing this is the same thing. The rotation of the car is the same, right? The car makes a spin and a circle, and here the car makes a circle also. So what this pro player is saying right now can be applied to every input. So I don't know why they're talking about tornado spins like that. I don't understand what the fuck is wrong with those people to talk about tornado spin.
slow down, when would I boost? When my nose is faced towards me, well, or behind me if you're thinking about it that way. When my nose is faced this way. So
yeah, but again, imagine so if you then you have to let go of the air roll of the joystick, right? He wants you to stop the tornado spin when you want to show down. Yeah. But why doesn't he say it then? And why doesn't this guy say it either? So if you're going like this and you want to slow down, you have to do this. First of all, again, it depends on my verticality, right? Because here it didn't work because I was not 67.5. If I try to be like 67.5 or something like maybe like that, and I try to do it, I'm going to do this, and now I'm going to boost. But because that's the whole point. This is why this is why when you do exercise number 2, if you go too horizontal, you cannot get back to vertical easily. Because when you press one input per revolution, there's a maximum angle that the car can take that's very low. It's like 45 degrees, right? If I go like this, if I go up right now, see, that's kind of the maximum angle that I can take. It's like 45 degrees, right? If we go to the line, it's like 45 degrees, right? So that's why pressing one input is not good. So you don't want to do that when you slow down, because depending on your verticality, you will need to do more inputs. Of course, if you're like this, if you're going like this, and you do that, because I was vertical and I pressed right at the neutral revolution, my car is going to go backwards. But that doesn't happen if I'm slightly more horizontal. And again, talking about neutral revolution, he never talks about neutral revolution at all. He's not once said that you should do things when the hood is facing you. Do you know what I mean?
I jump and I boost for something, let's not take that high aerial, for example, but you'd really want to slow down and have kind of your speed control when you want to catch the ball.
Yeah, I mean, that's common sense, okay? So we can decipher that from ourselves.
On this one, I'm going to be focusing on boosting when my nose is faced backwards. I'll let this one play. You'll notice that I do a burst of boost each time my nose gets faced backwards. Right here, here. So
this is why I don't think we should be talking about boost. Do you know what I mean? It's a waste of time to talk about boost. People will figure that out by themselves, first of all. Then they're going to figure out that depending on the verticality they have, it might not work to press tornado spin. Okay? How about you just tell them how to control your car, not how to boost?
Slow down in the air, because if I just aerial like this normal, I'll always shoot it.
Yeah, or what you can do is that you can have a better trajectory while pressing more inputs if you know what they do. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you understand what I mean? So what he did is that he just tried to prove something by putting not 1 ounce of good heart in it. Of course, if I say, oh, you want to, okay, of course, if you do random thing, it's not good. Of course. Do you know what I mean? Like the legitimacy of this argument is non-existent. Do you know what I mean? Because he's basically showing you the wrong way to do it on purpose and saying that if you just do like that, blah blah blah. Well, of course you're not putting any like, you're not even trying to hit the ball right there. You're just trying to prove your point. This reminds me of when Squishy Muffins made a video on how to air dribble. And what happens is that he said basically when you want to air dribble, put your joystick up, which is super wrong, right? Like, putting your joystick up is not how you air dribble. It's not a magical thing. It's just an input, right? And what he did is that when he would show it, he would focus on doing it like that. But then as soon as he didn't have the focus on that, he did an air dribble, you can notice on his controller overlay that he did not do that at all. Right? Do you know what I mean? That's kind of what's happening here, but in the opposite sense. Because if this guy redid this aerial without thinking about the tornado spin bullshit, he would press other inputs than the tornado spin and hit the ball. Do you know what I mean? Do you understand the analogy with the squishy muffins thing? So he teaches you to do something, and he's very specific about it. And when you know aerial, you know it's wrong. But people think it's true because he manages to do it, and the only reason he manages to do it is because he's good enough to manage to do it with this input, right? But then when he really does it for real, he doesn't do that. That's why I have the joystick self-check, by the way, so that people can, when I tell people to do something, and that's the results they need to achieve, they can literally see that I'm not bullshitting them. I'm literally doing myself. I'm doing those inputs. When I tell you that if you go down right up, you're going to go to the left. If you go slow, I do it, and you can tell that I'm not bullshitting you. And if I do it faster, then I become vertical. And you can see it, and you can see that I'm not bullshitting you. What this guy did is that he did something specific, which is the wrong thing, right? And then he did the opposite as Squishy Muffins. Well, kind of the same thing, actually, where he just does the same thing but badly, just to prove that what he did before is good. But the reason he could do the thing before is because he's good enough at it. If you try to do what this pro player just did, you're going to mess up. Does it make sense? It's kind of validating false arguments out of bad faith.
This is the breakthrough moment where you should be seeing why air roll isn't just some flashy mechanic. It's actually
he stops air rolling.
Roll that completely.
So what you want? So if I didn't know how to air roll and I watched this video, I would think, okay, sometimes I need to let go of air roll, but then I don't know how to fly all those directions.
Your aerial game. The pros aren't air rolling to look cool. They're doing it because it gives them this level of precision. Let's practice doing tornadoes from neutral. The most common air roll adjustment from the most common flying position.
No, it's not true. I don't know who made that up, but this is just not true. Okay.
Go in free play and tornado spin around the ball at midfield. Then try to pick a corner to boost at. I'll let Shock demonstrate.
What you can do is, okay, I want to pick a direction. I'm going to go to the left corner behind me. What I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start boosting when my nose is faced that
Imagine
way,
flying like this.
and let off the boost when it's faced other ways, right? So now.
Yeah, and if he tried to slow down right now, he would not be able to.
Now, and I go there, just on its own. I don't have to move my analog stick. So you just apply that to the air. Like that's what what someone who uses this does in every air dribble. You pop the ball off the wall, and you want to get back to the ball. I'm boosting when my nose is faced towards it, and I'm not boosting when it's faced away.
So so that's exactly what I just said before. The reason he could do that is because he's a retired pro, and his setup was so clean that he was literally going towards the ball on the first try, right? So if I do this and I press the right, sometimes, well, that was bad because I didn't press brakes. But if I do this, then I do that. See, every time I'm going towards the ball, I'm gonna boost on it, right? But this is not how you fly, because you're not turning here. You're not turning enough. There's so many wrong things about this that it's even hard for me to explain, because this is so deeply wrong, right? That I don't even know where to start. Basically, they're literally saying just press one input, and then boost when the hood faces it, when the nose faces it, in order to go this way. This is so not true. Like, this is a bad aerial right there. This is what happens when you start to air dribble with air roll and you're not really good at it. You start doing this and you're very proud. When you do an aerial, a very clean aerial, at least to me, is when you're very straight, as straight as you can all the time, right? And see here, I change directions. But if you're clean, it's going to be even smoother, right? So if you try to be clean, but I try to keep my nose, my car as straight as possible. I don't do this, right? I don't do this. Look at that. And so the initial speed that you get once you jump from the wall is going to be deciding whether you're going to the ball or not. If you're going to the ball, then doing what he says can work, even though it's a shit thing to say. Like if I do this is pretty good, right? But look at that touch. Takes 2 minutes to say something wrong, takes 2 hours. Yeah, that's what I say. I always say it like, I put it in the latest video of Spook Luke. It's called the Brandolini Law. It takes 2 minutes to say some random bullshit. But the problem I have here is that he's actually asking a pro player to validate his theory.
And that's how you control your speed in the air, and also slightly direction.
It's funny because if you watch his joystick as he stops playing,
and you want to get back
when
to
he
the
stops,
ball,
so again, look at it, look. His trajectory was so clean from the setup that when he jumps, he's already going towards the ball, right?
And you want to get.
He's already going towards the ball because he's a pro player, so he's really good. But this is not what. So of course, if you're really good at something and you try to prove a point, you're going to succeed. But that doesn't make it general because you're just that good.
Back to the ball. I'm boosting when my nose is faced towards it, and I'm not boosting when it's faced away from it. And that's how you can
Watch this now.
control your speed in the air.
Didn't this guy 15 minutes ago say that you should not make circles on your joystick? And then look at this. Watch
Back to
this.
the ball. I'm boosting when my nose
Watch here. Watch here.
and I'm not boosting when it's
Ready?
faced away from it.
Watch
And that's
now.
how you control
Circle,
speed
reverse clock,
in
and
the air.
reverse clock
Also
again.
slightly direction.
And this guy tells you not to do that. So he does it himself, doesn't realize he's doing it, but he tells you not to do it. That is what's wrong with this community. That is why Rocket League is dead. When pro players like this guy say those things, you have to believe them if you're a new player. So when this guy tells you to never roll your joystick, whether it's clocks or reverse clocks, you're going to think I should never do that. And so you never do it. And so you never learn how to do it. But he himself does it. So if you notice that, you're like, well, why does he say not to do it? Then he does it. And so you're confused, right? Because this guy literally just told you. So this guy tells you 15 minutes before to never do circles on your joystick. And then he tells you to do an air dribble while pressing the tornado spin. Like this. Which is highly fucking false. Do you understand? Do you understand my problem?
When it's faced away from it. And
Look,
that's how
reverse
you control
clock,
your
boom.
speed in the
Reverse
air,
clock
and also
again.
Slightly direction.
Now, I already know what the advanced players are thinking. Luke, why are you only talking about tornado spins? What if my car is already backwards and I want to turn? I can't
Wow. Please don't tell me he's going to talk about in between revolution angles.
just wait for a full rotation to
So yes, so for the argument of people who say I can't wait for the neutral revolution, to this I always answer, this is your responsibility. To be neutral, so first of all, we want to learn neutral revolution, but once we master the neutral revolution consciously, then we can start to let our brains learn what the inputs do on non-neutral angles of the revolution. That being said, when you're learning and training your air roll, you are responsible for your speed so that you end up doing what you need to do on neutral revolution. People say, "Oh, I do rings map," but sometimes I go through a ring and I'm not neutral. What do I do? Well, then control your horizontal speed more. That's the whole point. People have this weird thinking that it's all magical and that we all know all of the inputs. If you knew all of the inputs in air roll, you would be a robot. Okay? Okay, give me 30 seconds. So instead of trying to find bullshit things to tell you, when you say, "Oh, but I'm in between revolution, what do?" I tell you what I think. I think you're responsible for your own horizontal speed. Guinness, we don't even touch air roll. If you don't touch air roll, then Shaharia, you shouldn't play with the ball. No, because it's not okay to me, because they're actually going to think that this is what you need to do when air roll is much more complex than that. Imagine reducing air roll to tornado spin. You understand the gravity of this, right? Imagine reducing air roll to this. It's fucking insane to me. What is this chapter called? How to control turning midair.
to to make adjustments. What if I want to turn left or right faster? My answer is you're 100% right. And this is exactly where my previous tutorials failed miserably.
Oh my God, he's honest about it.
Eventually, you need to control from every position and orientation. But
yeah, well, I mean, that's a big eventually, because what happens is that when you train the neutral revolution, everything you do after that, once you master the neutral revolution, you're still, even if you make in between revolution angle inputs, your brain is still hardwired to the neutral revolution. I'm saying it's bad. Okay.
trying to learn every possible adjustment at once is exactly why 99% of players get stuck in air roll purgatory. The fastest path to mastery isn't trying to learn everything at once.
Yeah.
It's mastering one step completely
That is totally true.
before adding complexity.
So you need to master the neutral revolution. And once you master the neutral revolution and your brain is hardwired to the tempo of the neutral revolution, then you can not even think about it, but your brain is going to learn then the other inputs.
On top. I've tested this with hundreds of students, and the results are undeniable. So once you get good at this free
Yeah, I can also claim things like that to make it true. That doesn't make it true. Just saying.
You can progress to left rings or the pillar smack. So
This
I'm in
is
pillar
such
spin now,
bad.
guys. Tornado spins are awesome. Now the problem with tornadoes is you can't really aggressively change your speed. So you see
Yeah, because they're non-directional inputs. If you had done what I've done in like 30 seconds, you would have made people understand that tornado spin and reverse tornado spins are not directional inputs, in the sense that when you start doing them, you will not turn in any direction. So if I'm like this right now, let's go straight. If I'm like this and I press right, I'm not turning to the left or to the right. Okay? If I do this, I'm not turning to the left or to the right. But if I do this though, now I'm clearly turning to the left and to the right as soon as I press the input, right? So that's where he's getting at it right now, 30 minutes in.
here I'm waiting to spin. I can't aggressively change my speed. So ultimately we're going to get to the point in our air.
Wait, so is he just going to come back to upright and downright? So he said that everything he said in his other tutorials was a mistake, in which case I would like to say, why would you do it if it's a mistake? If you're not sure about what you're doing, don't release the video. I hate people who release videos about a subject, a tutorial, but they're not really good at it yet, but they wanted to make a video on it, and then they come back 3 months later saying, hey, now I've updated it, and then they come back 3 months after, then they're like, okay, I'm even better at it now, so blah, 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 you know what I mean?
Aerial control where you're flying
So
using
he's gonna talk about upright and downright. This is the moment you've been waiting for. This is what he's said in all of his other videos, by the way.
tornadoes, and then you realize I need to turn right fast or I'm gonna hit this wall. We do a different adjustment to do that. I need to turn right fast, so now I'm doing a turn right adjustment by using up and to the right. But that's the idea with tornadoes. Ideally, your tornado is kind of your baseline. You're getting your footing here, and then when you realize you need to turn, oh shit, I need to turn back this way. And I'm doing different adjustments here, and we'll get to all these in a second. But to start, you can just practice with this tornado just to get this idea of like, okay, I boost when I want to go forward, and now if I want to turn around, I have to deliberately kind of wait till my nose is facing back and boost more when it's facing
which
back.
is a terror. So basically, what you said is that everything you said before is bad.
You can also
Tornado spins are awesome. Oh my god. Yeah.
do this drill with reverse tornado spins, aka cucks twists, cucksier twists, but they're less intuitive. Why? Because
No.
with tornado spin, when I'm facing
Wait, what?
down,
What is
if
he
I face
saying? Cuxer twist is up and down.
forward and boost forward, I go there. If I cucksier twist, reverse tornado spin, actually have to get to reverse neutral and then start.
I don't think those things. I never heard that. To me, reverse tornado spins are not Cuxer spins. Cuxer twist. Cuxer twist to me have always been up and down, and I'm pretty sure about it.
Now it's less intuitive. When my car is upside down facing forward, that's when boost propels me
Well,
forward.
didn't he say he was going to do the history of directional air roll at some point? Because
So for that reason, we start with tornado spins because they're more common when you're taking off from the wall. They're more common when
again, it's not that they're more common. It's that their use is more common, right? It's not they're more. You have to say they're more common for the specific reason why they're common. They're common because they put your nose up. Reverse tornado spin are going to put your nose down. So why would you go into the air while doing this? So it's not that they're common because they're better. They're coming because we're flying. Flying is in the air. The air is not the ground, so you don't want to fly towards the ground. You want to fly towards the air. So of course they're more common, but at least give us the reason why, dude. Do you know what I mean? Give us the reason why, man. Like in a simple term. Every time, so see, the difference between this guy and me is astounding. The other guy who was trashing on me, criticizing this guy, is as ignorant as this guy. Like from upright to down, your nose is gonna go up. From up to down left, your nose is gonna go down. So from here to here, all of those inputs, I call them tornado. They're relative to the tornado spin side of the car. They make you go. They make your nose go up. If I press this, I'm going up. If I press this, I'm going up. My nose goes up, right? At the beginning of the revolution, right? But if I do this, my nose goes down. If I do this, my nose goes down, right? If I do this, my nose goes down. Okay? If you want to put things into boxes, it's got to be the right things that you put into boxes.
Taking off from the ground, and
so it's common because, of course, because we want to fly. It's common that we press the one of the inputs that makes us go up.
frankly, while in flight, from neutral, they're more intuitive. Now that doesn't mean reverse tornado spins are not useful, but for all these
So now he can. So again, I'm pretty sure cucks or twists are up and down, and he calls them reverse tornado spins, and cucks or twists are the same thing. So I think he's wrong about that, but. Is he going to talk about up, right, down? Because this whole segment is about turning
tornado spins
more.
Are more intuitive, and that's why we start with these as beginner players. And honestly, even you use these more commonly. You're using these 90% of the time. Tornado spin is the favored mechanic, let's say.
It's not a mechanic. What the fuck is? Why is he using the word so wrong? A tornado spin is not a mechanic.
So
it's just an
that
input.
Explanation makes sense. It's just more intuitive.
No, not really.
For aerial.
You don't say, so you can't just say it's more intuitive. There's a reason why it's more intuitive, because it puts the nose up. How hard is it to say, bro?
Let's go back to the training. Coming back.
You're telling me he worked 2 months on this? You gotta be shitting me. He worked 2 months on this, and this is a whole team of people, by the way. Not one of them told him how shitty he is.
Future here. You can fly like this, where you're only tornadoing, and we're just boosting.
This is terrible, by the way. This is terrible. Don't ever do that. Don't ever think that you can just press one input and boost at the right time. That's not what you want to do.
Go in the direction we want to go.
You want to use the inputs that make your car turn the right way to start with.
And this will be slow, but it does get the idea across of how you control using tornadoes. Now, if you want to turn right, we're going to boost a little bit more to the right. If you want to get to the left, we boost a little bit more to the left. Want to go up and to the right, we boost when our nose is facing up and right. Now if you want to do half spins,
I'm sure that you know what, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm sure that while he did this thing on the rings map while only pressing tornado spin, he crashed a few times, and that's why he's cutting. Because if you try to do that, if he didn't cut,
does get the idea
he would I did that at the beginning of Dark Days. God damn, dude. I mean, when you hear people say like that, of course you're going to try it out. But I'm sure that he cut the videos a few times here because it fucked up.
Using tornadoes. Now, if you want to turn right,
one cut,
we're gonna boost a little bit more to the right. Want to get to the left, we boost a little bit more to the left. Want to go up and to the right, we boost when our nose is facing up and right. Now, if you want to do half spins, you could do it basically flying like this. We just tornado spin until we get to the direction we want to go. So we're kind of half spinning, right?
You don't want to do that ever. You don't ever want to do that.
Tornado spin
because now you're breaking your constant. The whole point is to create fucking like a liaison, right? You want to create a link in your brain, and you want to link your brain to the neutral revolution. So you just do this, you keep air rolling, and you learn how to turn left and right, and as you turn left and right by pressing up and down, you also manage the verticality of your car, which means in the end your horizontal and vertical speed. That's what you want to do. You want to start playing with neutral revolution. Peter did this in 6 hours. He's not great at it, but he's only 6 hours in, and he's not a Rocket League player, and he's not even a gamer.
Direction we want to go to.
This is terrible.
Right.
Don't ever do that.
Left, right? Tornado spin straight through here. So here we're tornado spinning like half spins through.
You're not. If you do that, you're not learning anything. Anything. It's going to take you such a long time to think about continuously air rolling and pressing many inputs like reverse clocks.
Here we need to turn
This
right
is
heavy.
terrible.
So we're basically tornado spinning right heavy. So we're now.
And the reason he can do it is because he's good enough to do it himself. But obviously, when he air rolls, he doesn't do that. Me, on the other hand, when I tell you to do exercise number 2, I show you what exercise number 2 is, even in right air roll, which I don't know how to do. And because I have the theory behind it, and I have the muscle memory of the boost, I can make it work. But I'm putting myself at the same level as you. A new player will not be able to do this. What he's doing right now.
We're doing partials, but it's still
He has much more control about his horizontal speed than any new player, obviously.
only tornado spin, not using any other adjustment. Now is in partials, but it's still only tornado spin, not using any other adjustment. Now, is this perfect? No, but you can turn pretty aggressively.
No, you
wouldn't wanna
can't.
only-
You cannot turn pretty aggressively. You can't. Because tornado spin, like any other input on the joystick, if you only use it for one input per revolution, it's only going to make you turn a certain amount. And depending on the verticality that you have, this angle is going to change and change and change. That's why when you press right when the car is 90 degrees perpendicular to the ground, you're going to go backwards. But if you're horizontal, like grounded, as he says, pressing right, tornado spin is not going to make you go backwards. You want to have aggressive turns? First learn what one input does, an input that's directional already, so that you turn even more. Right? And then learn reverse clocks. And this is the advanced way of making much sharper turns like this. By the way, this chapter, we're midway through the chapter. This is how to control turning mid-air. And he's still talking about the tornado spin and not the up and down.
You do
Which
this
I
in
think
rank,
is insane.
But like as a beginner, if you only did this, you could get 50% of control down, adjusting continuously in a second. but that's kind
Imagine trying to do that and then retraining everything with the right inputs.
of the idea of how you could go about training using partials. Pro tip: I highly recommend doing 25 or 50% speed training to start. If you want more,
Yeah, I don't advise doing that, because what you're going to do is that you're going to tell your brain that this is how fast the game goes, and then you're going to put on the real speed and you're going to feel lost because now the game is going so much faster. I know some people, I mean, I want you to learn air roll. That's all I want to do. Some people like to change the speed of the game, etc. I don't advise doing that, but that's just my opinion. This is not a general truth. This is my opinion. I don't advise changing the speed of the game, because then you're going to bind your brain to the wrong tempo, the wrong speed of the car. And if you do reverse clocks, you're going to bind your brain to doing the wrong rhythm. And so when you come back to the real speed, it's going to be much faster. If anything, if you wanted to help yourself, you would go faster. You would make the game even faster, so that when you put the real speed, everything is so much easier. Are reverse clocks inverted with right air roll? Yes, of course they are.
precise drill instructions, pull up the cheat sheet to train, but I'm going to go straight to the good stuff. Let's move on to step 3. Now that you understand the brake gas pedal concept, let's tackle the biggest air roll challenge: turning in midair.
And that's the problem I have, is that people always talk about turning left and right. He even said it in his video. I don't know why he doesn't talk about it again, but maybe he will, but I'm speculating. Air roll is not just about turning left and right. We are not on a bicycle or in a fucking car. We're flying. So unless you're like this, fighting gravity, which is not possible because we have a boost from backwards and not under. If I just jump like this, I'm going to go down. Even though I get fast horizontally, I'm still going to go down. So air rolling, or flying in general, is both managing your horizontal speed as well as your verticality. But when you press inputs, verticality and horizontality are going to be conflicting. So you have to make it work with both verticality and horizontality. That's the whole point of so I don't believe in that turn right bullshit, because in reality, if I press up, I'm going to turn right, but my nose is going to go down. Of course, you can also press upright so that you're still in a tornado spin fashion, right? So your nose goes up. But still, you have to always, the point of exercise tune-up, for instance, is to strafe right and left while working on the verticality of your car, which entails your horizontal speed. Big verticality, not much horizontal speed. Low verticality, a lot of horizontal speed. And that was a reverse clock. By the way,
is where 90% of players get completely lost.
So turning
And
left and right just shows me that when people tell me about turning left and right, you cannot just say that in reality, right? I mean, I understand we all want to turn left and right, but we have to focus also on the verticality of the nose.
This is the part where most tutorials will tell you, just practice more. Or
no, this is a part where your tutorials tell us to go up right and down right, basically. See, he's trashing on other YouTubers when he himself has done shit in the past. Is he even going to talk about it?
It's all
he literally trashed. This is like the 4th time that he's trash talked other tutorials, and only one time has he said that he was wrong about what he did before.
Which by now you know is absolute nonsense. Just like the other steps, there's a specific learnable process that will have you air rolling in weeks, not months.
Yeah, and then you have the SSL and the GC shit, you know? No. Is he going to talk about up, right, down, right?
So, let's revisit our initial 8 corners example.
Oh my
Recall
God,
the 8
why are we
corners
talking
example
about
that
this?
When we're in the flying position, nose pointing straight to the sky, when we push vertically up on our joystick to 12 o'clock and hold arrow left, where did we turn? We turn to the right. Okay. Also recall that in the flying position, nose pointing to the sky, pushing vertically down on your joystick around 6 o'clock while holding arrow left, that turned us to the left. So you might think to yourself, so I press up to go to the right, arrow left, and I press down to go left. That does follow the 90-degree clockwise.
So that's the basic understanding, yes.
Thing you taught us. So is that it?
But your verticality is going to change.
While you're right in theory, practically that's not correct. You're right about the adjustments, but what you're forgetting is most of the time that we fly in ranked, we start in that neutral
Why is he talking about ranked again? You mean that in ranked you don't fly like that? Or is he...
position.
What is this argument of ranked all the time? He says other tutorials like he's and the one who has so many tutorials on this. Yeah, like his aerial tutorials have the biggest views on his channel, by the way.
You're usually flying for a ball.
This guy's so full of shit, man. It's unbelievable. Like, it's been like, what, 2 hours since I started doing this? There's 1% of correct things that he said. 1%, dude. It's incredible.
In front of you.
And he is so far from understanding how it works and understanding why you should explain it a certain way. He's so far from it.
Directly overhead or behind. So if you just use up and down on the joystick from this neutral position, you will kind of turn to the left and right, but your speed is going to run out of control because in both of those animations from neutral, your nose is pointing forwards the entire time.
So this is the point. This is the part where he should say that. I made a video called A Conversation About Exercise Number 2 that talks about this, right? I saw that spooky look thumbnail and instantly, hey Logan, how you doing? So he should be talking right now about the fact that if you press up and down, you're going to strafe to the left and to the right, but depending on when you let go of the joystick, your car is going to change horizontality. So if I'm vertical here, and I press up and I let go, I become a bit more horizontal, right? So the point is to always work on your verticality. And what he should be saying is that if you keep any input for one revolution, right? At the end of the input, at the end of the revolution, the car's nose will have come to the same verticality as it had when it started. So if I start like this, right? Right? And I press up for one revolution, let me get straight. If I press up for one revolution, my nose, I should have let go before because I was not precise, but the nose is going to come back to the same original point. Do this and that, right? It's the same verticality, right? So if you want to strafe to the right, for instance, that's why I say in the Conversation About Exercise Number 2 video, if people want to turn to the right a few times in a row, sometimes the mistake they do is that they press up shortly 3 times. They go like 1, 2, 3. But look at my car. Now it's horizontal. Instead of doing that, what you should do is at some point press up for one revolution. So maybe you can go 1 and then you can go 2. And when I'm done with that, my car's nose is more vertical. Right? So you can go like this. You go 1, then you go 2, and boom, I turn to the right and I'm still vertical. Do you know what I mean? So what is he going to say?
You're losing that brake gas pedal you'd normally get from tornado spin. In other words, if I were to put a ball on your car and tell you to air dribble using only the up and down adjustment, you quickly lose control of the ball. We need an adjustment that both slows us down and turns our car. Up and down are close, but we need to combine them with tornado spins. Let's work it backwards. Let's say you want your car to go back and to the left from the normal flying position while holding air roll left. In other words, what joystick direction, when rotated 90 degrees clockwise, becomes down left? Answer, diagonal down right. If you
That's so fucking complicated. Did you understand any of that? I'm getting tired, so maybe that's just me, but that was so fucking complicated.
rotate this 90 degrees, it becomes down left. Let's use the same logic for the other side. What if you want your car to go down and right with air roll left? What position, when rotated 90 degrees clockwise, would find that? The answer, diagonal upright, turns us down right, aka back right, when using air roll left. Here's a quick recap table for you. If we want to go back into the left, the joystick input is diagonal down right.
So again, this only works if you're 100% neutral. I mean, 100% vertical, right? So the problem is now you see what I mean? He's making general truths about something that's variable. This only works if your nose is 100% vertical. Do you understand? I know you don't agree with this, but he should just be saying to practice in zero gravity so you don't have to deal with the always having to boost up, at least at first. Dude, no, I don't agree with that. What's up, Luca? How you doing, man? No worries, man. Don't ever apologize for not being able to come on the streams. What's up, man? He's saying his old up right and down right. So basically what he's doing is just re-explaining the 8 corners method right now. He's literally just re-explaining the 8 corners method, which again is not a method but an observation. Yeah, that's what he's trying to do, Logan. Yeah.
Go diagonal down right.
Diagonal down right to turn right. Yeah. Yeah. And then when you do that in the 67.5 degree position, instead of going backwards and to the right, you're going to go forward and to the right.
Joystick input is diagonal upright. Intuitively, this should follow from the 8.
So again, that's what I said before. Now he's going to tell you to learn all of the 8 inputs for all of the 3 reference points, all of the 3 different verticalities of the car.
Demo earlier.
That's 24 things to learn by heart, and that's just 1 input per revolution, by the way. And again, he has never said that ever, but the hood is facing him, which I call neutral revolution. He has not mentioned it once, by the way.
And if it doesn't, just study the cheat sheet for a little bit. Once you understand these 3 adjustments, tornado spin, up and to the right, and down and to the right for air roll left, air roll becomes a system. And remember, this isn't random. It's a predictable pattern that top players exploit constantly.
But in terms of a turning motion, yeah, when you want to turn right, you would go up and right as helpers in that way. Like if I'm like trying to avoid the wall over here, right? I'm up here, I'm tornado spinning, yeah, I'd go like up and right once my nose gets faced that way, but it's still predicated on where your nose is faced. Because if I go up and right and I'm faced left, I still go left. You need to be watching first, where's my nose faced? Second, make sure I'm boosting when I want to turn that way. And then third, if I need more of a turn, I add in that extra movement, which we just outlined.
Oh my God. Or you master the neutral revolution, right? And you learn how to make 1 input per revolution, like say upright, as he says. And then you make reverse clocks like this, and you get away from the wall. Like, what the fuck? Do you understand what he's saying? He's saying you get a tornado spin, then you can add the other input upright if you want to. That's why I'm saying being a pro doesn't mean you have the legitimacy to teach, because this is a pro player who doesn't understand what he's doing, and he's teaching you something. But then when he does it himself, he's saying he's doing things that I've said in my video, aka the reverse clocks. Don't you find this incredibly ironic and hypocritical? It's insane, dude. It's just insane, right?
Navigate rings using only 3 adjustments. Tornado spin.
Yeah, and I can do it with only 2, by the way. Oh, what he's saying more makes some sense. Yeah. I think that's what he does, probably. He basically He kind of lures them into confirmation bias, right? I think that's what he does, because there's no fucking way this pro player flies while doing tornado spins. Like, nobody does that. It's like saying you only walk by putting all of your weight on your big toe. It's ridiculous. You have to use your whole foot and your whole leg. It's more complicated than this. So what they've just both said is that you need to press tornado spin, and then you can add upright or downright when you fly. They don't even say when. Have you noticed that? They don't even tell you when to press the inputs. They just tells you when the nose is facing this direction, press this. But they don't talk about the spin angle of the car. So even while trying to explain something that's wrong, they manage to do it wrongly.
Left in tornado spin, right. These will vary on arrow left and arrow right. On arrow left, this is the right side of your joystick, and on arrow right, this is the left side.
Yeah, but the problem is that directional air roll is not a symmetric technique. See, you can say that those are part of the tornado spin. Those will make your nose go up, but this will also make your nose go up. So see, it's asymmetrical. It doesn't follow this line, the middle line, right?
Of your joystick. Basically, you tornado spin normally.
And again, what he says is not different from any other video he's done. Because he basically, right now, instead of saying upright and downright like he does in every other video, he just says one input more, which is the tornado spin. He could have made it interesting about reverse clocks, but he chose to say something that's really useless. It's not that it's useless; it's that, I mean, tornado spin is only when you want to go straight that you use it, right?
To do minor turns, and when you need to do a major turn, you wait till you get to neutral and then activate the proper joystick adjustment.
So how can you understand what he just said? A major turn, a major fucking turn, bro. To me, this is insane. It's insane to me that he would say that. This is the maximum angle that you're going to get when you hold the input. Any input, he says. See, the car cannot go farther than this. Right? It makes a turn on itself, but you cannot go farther into the angle. So let's say I'm horizontal and I want to turn backwards by pressing up, for instance. I'm going to go left, but this is not going to make me go, like, just because I'm pressing up doesn't do this, like with that arrow. It makes me go left. Of course, my nose goes up, but when you hold an input for one revolution, your nose is not going to be able to go farther than this angle of the axis. That's the point of reverse clocks, because you can go farther than that. Reverse clocks enable the inputs, which gives you more angles on your turns. Actually, the most angles that you can have. So he talks about major turns when literally I literally say that pressing one input per revolution is going to give you minor turns. But because he's been turning while doing this bullshit of tornado spin and pressing the boost when the nose is turning left and right, then he considers that those two inputs, upright and downright, are major turns when they're literally not major turns. If I want to turn to the far right, unless I have the right verticality, I'm not going to be able to do it. Like if I'm going horizontal and I want to go backwards right, if I press up, it's not going to work. However, if I do a reverse clock with the right input and the right timing, I get the result that I want because I can enable the turns even more, and then I stop whenever I want to. Do you know what I mean? So he's still talking about one input per revolution without telling us when to do them in the revolution. Basically, he's never said do them when the hood is facing you. Have you noticed? He's not even talking about the constant of the tempo. He kind of implies it, but he's never said it out loud when it's something that should be said out loud. Then he tells you to use tornado spin as your main input and to start turning while only using tornado spin, which only works at a certain verticality, by the way. This is so fucking wrong on so many levels. It's so wrong, dude. And to say that this guy on Twitch 1 hour ago started criticizing me for trash talking these people, are you kidding me? How am I the bad guy just because I criticize? This is full of misinformation and incorrect things. And you want me to stay quiet? Fuck that. Don't ever tell me to be quiet, bro. Like, what the hell? I'm preventing naive people from falling into this bullshit of a video. This guy should have been thanking me for what I'm doing. I don't get pleasure from doing that, just so you know. I do it because I have to do it. I'm not the one that should be responsible for the state of Rocket League and the state of directional air roll. But I saw that everybody was wrong and everybody spread bullshit, so I decided to change things. And now I'm the bad guy for criticizing this scammer, this piece of shit of a human being, from preventing you to put 300 hours in doing this shit for no reason. Like, where's my thank you? Can you believe this guy on Twitch, like, criticized me for trash talking this retard? Are you kidding me? Holy shit, man.
Up and right or down and right.
This is so frustrating, like...
to turn. What you don't want to do to turn left is to hold down this adjustment the whole way and keep boosting. It's more intuitive when I'm turning left here to be in the neutral position, so that slight tilt forward. I'm going to pull down and to the right until I like the position of my car, and then I'm going to keep spinning and press air roll down and to the right again.
Look at that, look at that. Now he had too much horizontal speed, so look at that. He literally fucks it up.
Spinning and press air roll down.
Now he's fucked. Now he's not pressing air roll anymore.
To recenter myself. Let me do that on slow-mo.
No, what you should be doing is practice exercise number 2 and work on both your verticality and your horizontal speed, and learn how the car feels and how the nose goes if you let go of the input. It's simple. If you don't let go of the input for one revolution, you will come back to the original position. Shit, I'm in bull cam. If you do this and you let go and you do one whole revolution with the input, you will come back to the same verticality. It's simple as that. If you let go during that, because your nose is making a circle, well, you will stop during the circle. So your nose might be tilted a certain way, like this. You know what I mean? It's insane, dude. Thank you for criticizing these weirdos and giving us the truth. You said that because I cried about not being thanked. No, but don't worry. Like, my self-esteem is fine. I know I'm helping people. There's some people who hate me and for the wrong reasons. And there's some people who one of the wrong reasons being that I criticize everything that I fall upon. If the game is dying, it's because of us and because of psionics. You know what I mean? So don't trash talk me for trash talking others that deserve it. And you might not like my video, but it's still the best one. Oh, but you know, it's not the video that helped me. I'm pretty sure that the 15 hours of work that you put in with my video helped you when you thought it was the new video that you came upon. There's one guy who once told me, well, I tried a video for like 4 days, and I did like 30 hours in 4 days, and it didn't help me. And then I watched somebody else's video, and I started doing what he said, and it all clicked. And I answered, maybe it's the 30 hours of working beforehand with my video that made it click. Haven't you thought about that? And he didn't answer back. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But this is not about me.
Doing half the spin to get my car in the turn left position.
So instead of doing this, he could just tell you what I just said very easily, right? I literally just told you very easily what happened. You don't need to slow down and to start rambling for 3 minutes on, right? Just if you press once the input shortly, you will turn a little bit to the right or to the left, and you will also change the verticality of your car. If you want to turn to the right or to the left without changing the verticality of your car, just keep the input for one revolution. And you got to get used to those feelings. You got to get used to what it feels like to just press one input like this and hold the input. That's all you need to do. There's no point in rambling.
Boom. I'm in the turn left position. I press down and to the right again.
And then he stops air rolling. Then he stops air rolling. In 4 days, I bring people to rings maps.
I'm going to go up and to the right to get my car in the turn right position. Great, I'm in the turn right position. Now when I'm done with
what
it,
is this?
Push up and to the right again. And this is kind of the idea with doing these turns in the same way.
So now he just implied that you should do inputs in between the revolution.
Around the center. It's the same idea here. So I want to turn right. I press up and to the right and hold arrow left to put my car in the turn right position. Now I'm turning right. And when I'm done, I press up and to the right again, and now I'm recentered. flying back at my target. I want to turn left.
Yeah, or what you do is that you press up as much as you want, and then you press the opposite input to do the same thing, except you do it at neutral revolution. Instead of doing this, right, which makes it that you have to learn what all of the inputs do on 2 angles of the revolution. What you do is that you do 1 and 2, and now I'm centered. So this guy, this is really important. He just implied, without saying it, that you need to learn what the inputs do at neutral revolution. That means that he's been telling us to learn 8 inputs at 3 different verticalities twice because of the 2 angles of the revolution. So let's do the math. I'm going to bring out a calculator real quick because I can't be bothered. So, calculatrice. So, of course, we know 3 times 8 is 24. So 24 times 3 is 72. And times 2 for 2 angles of the revolution is 144. What he just did, he implied without saying it that you would have to learn 144 different commands on your joystick of muscle memory. What the fuck? I'm telling you to learn between 12 and 16, by the way. And this is hard enough. Do you understand the calculus? Do you understand the math here? He tells us the 8 corners method works on 3 different verticalities. Right? Do you understand? And and all of those work on 2. Wait. Did I? Whoa, what am I? I'm tired. 8 angles. 8 times 3 is 24. No, I was wrong the first time I did it. So 24. No, 8 inputs times 3. That's 24 inputs. Times 2. This is still a lot of things. 48 different things. That's better than 100 or whatever. So you have to learn 48 different things by heart. That's only, right? So that's if you learn the 8s. Dude, I'm getting tired. 8 inputs times 3 verticalities. That's 24. And then those 3 verticalities, you have to learn them twice each time. So that's 48. And he stops. Yeah, he's teaching air rolling, but he stops because he thinks that, he thinks it's all about micro adjustments. Right? I tell people to never let go of air roll when they learn and they train. You want to know when to let go of air roll? Sometimes people let go of air roll. Sometimes. And when you see pro players, they stop air rolling sometimes to get a perfect touch on the ball, like this. Right? To be sure that their air rolling is not preventing them from hitting the ball at the right spot. You know what I mean? But usually you want to keep air rolling because the point of air roll is that it gives you comfort. So if you break that comfort, well, you're kind of fucked. But sometimes people like this are going to do air dribbles, right? And they're going to... I just fucked that one up. That was funny. They're going to do air dribbles and they're going to stop air rolling as they touch the ball to ensure that they're touching the ball with the right side of the car. That is the only reason sometimes people stop air rolling. Right? Or like maybe the best reason why they stop air rolling.
Press down into the right and arrow left to roll my car.
Dude, there's 20 more minutes of this shit.
Turn left. Okay, I want to recenter. Press down to the right again. Once you get good at making one turn at a time, you can try to add multiple turns back to back or even continuous spin throughout. Remember, slow-mo is your best friend.
No, it's not. It's not. At least say, well, he couldn't know because he doesn't work with constants, but, changing the speed is going to kind of fuck up your muscle memory at some point.
We're only at step 3, but that's it. Tornado controls speed. The other 2 control...
What?
Left, right.
Wait, how did we go from all of that to tornadoes control speed? Didn't you just say that it controls speed? Like, I don't understand. He just proved something, and then he just proved that it doesn't work unless you are at the right verticality, and then he ends up concluding that tornado spins makes you slow down. What the fuck? So let me guess. What if I'm flying like this? Oh, but you should be flying more vertical. Well, no. If this is what I need to get to the car, I don't need this, right? It's either. So let's talk about something specific. If he tells me, well, Lausfeld, you should be flying more vertical, like 60, like the perfect position, right? So either I fly like this. That means that in order to, so let's say, for instance, let me show you on the screen. Let's say the ball is right here at the end of the field, right? If the ball is right there at the end of the field, right? If I go like this, I have to feather my boost to keep the right verticality, but that means that I'm not going as fast towards the ball as I could. Whereas if I just did this, I'm supersonic and now I can slow down and hit the ball. And then he's going to talk about efficiency. Do you know what I mean? Do you know why it's contradictory? Like, do you understand what I mean? He's saying that those things can only work if you're at the right verticality, and that you should always be at this verticality when you play rank games, which is not true. Because my trajectory is going to be dependent on the fastest trajectory that I can take to get to the ball. If this fastest trajectory forces me to get a bit more horizontal, right, then that's what I need to do to get horizontal. That means that I cannot brake anymore while doing tornado spins. I cannot brake anymore because if I'm too horizontal and I do a tornado spin, it's not going to bring my nose backwards. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? You feel me?
Just these 3 adjustments, you'll already be more controlled than 80% of players.
Oh my
Zooming
God,
out
this
for a
is
second.
so not true, dude. This is so not true. Just do the exercises for 4 days and start doing a rings map while playing exercise number 2. Thank me later. What the hell?
The reason I'm teaching you this way is because I want you to practice a certain way. We're building the connections in our brain to these adjustments one at a time. So rather than trying to learn all 8 corners at once and just swinging our joystick around in rings, I can't believe people actually tell you to do that. You can follow this
Oh my God, you have a lot of balls. This guy has got a lot of balls, dude. He's going to talk about feedback loops later, is he?
approach and actually understand what's happening to your car while you spin. This guarantees you'll master these moves.
Dude, let me. I'm gonna smoke a pipe while doing that. Fuck this. I'm gonna smoke a pipe, dude. I deserve this shit. I deserve it right now. What are you talking about, bro? Okay, let me try to make this quick. I'm sorry, YouTube. Maybe I'll cut this. Maybe I won't.
Even if you're not a fast learner and you can't self-teach everything. But Luke, I'm still waiting for my car to rotate around in order to turn. This is too slow. Technically, yes, you're right. This isn't as fast as the pros turn. But
no, it's the difference between us. What are the differences between us and the pros when we airroll, for instance? You want to know what the difference is? Well, the pros spend a lot of time on the game, much more than we do. They do it for a living. They have much more practice and experience and probably a lot more talent. So the difference between me, for instance, and a pro when we airroll, what is the difference? The difference is that the pros, on top of being very precise with the inputs and letting go of the inputs and doing the inputs at the correct time, they know more inputs in between the revolution. Do you understand? They know more inputs during the revolution. So, of course, they can turn before me because I wait to be, well, consciously I wait to be neutral. Subconsciously, I probably know more inputs than I think I do. But they're non-conscious. At the end of the day, every tutorial maker, when not paying attention on their BS method, moves their joystick in a circle. Yeah. You have my respect for that. Well, thank you. Well, I mean, feedback loops only make you go straight, though. Some pro players, some tutorial makers, when they make tutorials and they do circles, we have to see it whether they're feedback loops or whether they're reverse clocks, right? The pro player that we saw like fucking 40 minutes ago that I said he was doing reverse clocks was doing circles, reverse clocks. He didn't know he was doing them, but he was doing reverse clocks. So it's not necessarily feedback loops, right?
this is still a really fast way to move around.
Wait, there's something wrong here. I'm sorry, maybe I'll cut this in the video, who knows. Hold on. Ah, la, la, fuck me. Okay.
In the air compared to normal air roll.
What'd he say? What'd he say?
A really fast way to move around in the air compared to normal air roll or flying without air roll at all. Practically.
Well, you could go a bit more in depth on that. Playing with non-air roll is going to be faster on the first input that you make. After that, if you make opposite inputs, playing without air roll, you're going to have some momentum lag, right? With air roll, you're going to be more fluid, and even more fluid if you know more inputs in between the revolution.
You could use only...
And Spook Rat over here does clocks, yet says it throws shades on you for actually teaching it. I mean, the audacity. Dude, this guy is really, I mean, he's not a good person. I would not want to be his friend. This guy will not help me if I'm getting bullied, right? This is the kind of guy who's just going to walk away. To be so inconsistent, to me, shows a lot about this guy's integrity. And we know people have made videos about this guy's integrity, so...
Tornado half of your joystick and easily get SSL. That being said, at the top ranks, when we get into super advanced mechanics like precise musties, breezies, flip resets, there are certainly in-game positions where you're going to want to learn the other kind of 5 adjustments on the joystick. For example, let's say our car is upside down, but in the neutral position so that,
So it's funny. His terminology is funny. Everything is, the wrong one.
67.5 degree tilt. And let's say we want to slow down or lift our hood up into the air and fly higher. Well, if you use a tornado spin from upside down neutral, you would fly to the ground. You have to wait until your car gets back to neutral but air rolled over in order to then lift your nose. This is minorly inconvenient. Well, there actually is a way to lift your hood from the upside down neutral position.
There's always a way to do everything. There's always a way to do everything. If you want to get a different angle of the car that's too farther than the angle that one input can give you, then you need reverse clocks. First of all. Like if you're going horizontal and you want to go backwards, not one input can help you do that. You need to do a reverse clock. What time is it for you? It's like 2:43 a.m. Okay? But every input can be used to start with. Again, the problem that this guy has is that he has so little understanding of air roll that he thinks that we're just doing one input at a time, when in reality we're doing continuous inputs in order to fly. That's the biggest problem that he has. On top of the fact of him being stupid enough to choose wrong terminology and the wrong format and the wrong organization of thoughts, he's just plainly wrong about air roll. Do you know what I mean? It's not about... He's talking about air roll as though it was small adjustments. It's very rarely small adjustments. If you need to make a big turn, it's not small adjustment. It's literally a continuous clock. Reverse clock.
45 degrees down to the ground from here, what would lift it up? A reverse tornado spin. If you add in reverse tornado spins...
So now, what he's implying again is that you learn all of the 8 inputs for at least two angles of the revolution of the car. And 3 times. Because there's 3 verticalities according to him.
You're now at like 9...
He loves tornado spins because, he's stupid and he wanted to talk about something that people know and can relate to. But tornado spin is useless. We use it. I call it the safe input. If I don't know where I want to go, but I want to press an input, I'm going to do the tornado spin. Why? Because it makes me go straight when I start doing it, so I don't take a new direction. And it puts my nose up.
95% mastery of air roll. These 3 tornado spins reign supreme, and when combined with reverse, you could have the mechanics of somebody like Shock, who was the North American MVP in Season 9, and still a 2000 MMR plus ranked 2v2 player. But to backtrack for a second, when we talk about air dribbling and flying in the air and making controlled touches in Diamond and Champ and even Grand Champ and SSL, these 3 tornado adjustments still reign supreme. And you can develop absolutely insane mechanics with just these 3 air roll adjustments alone.
No. So many tabs. Yeah, I do have a lot of tabs. No, what he just said is wrong. None of those players right there are using those 3 inputs mainly. All of them are using reverse clocks.
For sake of completion, I'm going to explain something here that you don't have to memorize. But high-ranked players, you'll probably appreciate this. The left side adjustments and reverse tornado spins allow you to get the same directional changes as you would with tornado spins, but instead of slowing...
Wait, what?
Allow you to get the same directional...
I don't understand. He said the reverse... Before that, he said that the reverse tornado spins were coxer twists, which is up and down. I don't understand the guy anymore.
The left side adjustments and reverse tornado spins allow you to get the same directional changes as you would with tornado spins, but instead of slowing down while midair, these will speed you up when done from the neutral position. So for advanced mechanics...
What do you mean speed? What direction? Spin into which direction, bro? I mean, he even said it himself out loud that this was a 3-dimensional space. So when you talk about speed, are you talking about forward horizontal speed? If that's the case, of course, reverse tornado spin puts your nose down. So if you're flying at the 67.5 degree, if you do a tornado spin, your nose is gonna go down, which means that you're gonna have more horizontal speed if you boost. What is he talking about? I don't know what he's talking about anymore.
Like flip resets, the reverse tornado can be beneficial, but practically, reverse tornado spins are much less intuitive for normal flying. Because your car rotates around the y-axis.
When you do a reset, you don't just do a reverse tornado spin. You do a reverse tornado spin with a down input. You do a quarter reverse clock or a half reverse clock starting from either up or reverse tornado spin. Let me show you. So when you do a reset, watch my joystick. I'm going to go either up, left, down, or left, down. That was terrible. Did you see it? Did you see it? Again? Did you see the left down here? It's a reverse, it's a quarter reverse clock. Did you see it again? So it's not just reverse tornado spin. That's not enough to say.
But your wheels will face you in order to boost forward. It's confusing.
With the reverse is that it kind of pushes your momentum towards where your nose is faced already. But you know, with regular tornado spin, your car turns inwards at itself. So it doesn't push you in a direction. What I'm doing here in game right now, like I'm doing the difference, like when I just tornado spin here, you know, and my momentum starts and I get into neutral position and I tornado spin, I don't go anywhere. Now, if you're pointed straight up, you do go backwards, like you mentioned earlier. But from neutral position, you're not pointing straight upwards. You're a little bit below it.
However, there are situations like ceiling shots, for example.
Listen, I'm going to be honest. I did not understand a single thing here. I don't know who this pro player is, but don't ever give him a mic. No hate. He's probably a great guy. Probably like fucking awesome in Rocket League, but please don't interfere. What the hell? See you later, Shahariar. See you later, man. Thanks for tuning in. We're almost at the end, thank God.
Falling off the ceiling and you're starting in the upside down grounded position, guess what's going to lift you up? Not a tornado spin or reverse tornado spin. This is cool, but once again, my point is the reverse tornado spin is much less practical. Where are we more commonly taking off from? If you're Zen, maybe ceiling, but the rest of us, we
Don't you remember? I've said this already. I've said that you can press a tornado spin from a ceiling, and then you would go down.
Fly from the ground. If you were a true completionist, you could learn all the drills I've mentioned.
Which is not even true, by the way. Because if you're on the ceiling, I was wrong, by the way, and so is he then. Because from the ceiling, if you press a tornado spin, you're reversed. So that means your nose is going to go up. I love you. I love you too, man. Shkleb.
With reverse tornado spins instead. So for example, if we're in the neutral position and we use a reverse tornado spin, we're going to go up and right instead of back and right. And then you could also learn the upside down neutral position next. So if you're in the upside down neutral position, down.
Yeah. So 8 inputs, 3 times 2.
left while holding arrow left, for example, that won't speed you up and left relative to how you're looking at the car. It'll actually slow you down back and right. Whatever you decide to learn and however deep you want to go, the key insight is this. You're not making random adjustments hoping for results. You're using specific inputs.
You've said that already and we all know it.
At specific car positions to create predictable changes in your movement.
Yeah, how about you learn to change those cars' positions instead of telling people they have to be at those positions? So how do you change from grounded to perfect? Do you know what I mean? How do you do that then? You know what I mean? How do you go from this? How do you go from this to this? Like, he tells you to use 3 different verticalities, but he doesn't tell you how to get there. If you just tell people how to use the joystick, they can literally change their verticality all the time. Like, I'm going vertical, now I'm going horizontal, now I'm going vertical, now I'm going like, it's literally 2 different inputs, 2 reverse clocks. It's easy. Like, just teach that.
Is how you're going to learn air roll in weeks, not months. Step 4, let's talk about the last 2 concepts that will transform your air roll game. We've got partial spins and chaining adjustments. When you hold a tornado spin for a full 360-degree rotation, your car ends up back in the same position it started.
Oh my
useful
God.
In some cases,
he says this at the end of the video. I've said that from the beginning. He should have said that before, much before.
Like from neutral, but in other flying positions, you rarely want to complete full spins. So if you want to unlock the last 5 to 10% of air roll control, you need to learn how to chain your adjustments.
Dude, he's going to talk about the reverse clocks, and he says it's the 5 to 10% remaining, when it's literally the majority.
Why? Because in-game situations are messy. If you ever watch pros play, you'll notice they're flicking their joystick around. That's because they're chaining. Let's break down why this...
So, wait. The retired pro said that we shouldn't do circles in the rings maps. He didn't say which direction, so I don't know if he was talking about feedback loops or reverse clocks, but all of those are circles. Now, this guy is talking about the fact of chaining things. If he says don't do circles, then he's going to be contradicting the one person that he invited to talk about it.
This works and how you can start doing it. Example, let's say you're falling from the ceiling and you want to return to normal flying posture, nose up. Well, level 1 with no air roll would just be push your joystick up, or in other words, pitch up. Simple. But let's do level 2. Let's say you have to continue a spin, like in an air dribble or flip reset setup, where you're holding air roll. What would you do if you were falling from the ceiling and you had to hold air roll while climbing back up? I'll give you 3 seconds to think.
Reverse clock.
Answer, chain a reverse tornado spin and a regular tornado spin. In other words, we start with a reverse tornado spin, aka air roll left plus stick left, and we do that for half a spin, a partial. Then
wow, this makes it so complicated. You don't understand how complicated this is. So again, he's implying that you should learn every input for two angles of the car. So here's my thought. If I'm on the ceiling and I want to go down, I'm going to do a half reverse clock from down. Okay? Let's test it. I'm in the ceiling. I'm going to do a half reverse clock from down. There we go. I'm going downwards. Do you know what I mean? I'm here, and I do a quick reverse clock from down, and I go towards the ground. Like this. Reverse clock.
switch to normal tornado spin, aka air roll left plus sticking to the right. That completes the rotation. Boom. We just did a 90-degree lift.
Oh wait, he didn't want to go to the ground. He wanted to stay vertical. My bad. I misunderstood this. So then what would I do? Ouch. I don't need to jump off of it. I don't know why I'm jumping, but... If I have to think about it, so I'm going this way. Oh, wait. Hold on. Is it going to be this? Shit. From like this. Yeah. It's a fast reverse clock from up and not from down. If I do a fast reverse clock from up like this. Oh shit, I didn't start with up. I'm going like this, reverse clock from up, right? Because you're like this and you want, so a reverse clock makes you go vertical to horizontal. So this is vertical, so horizontal if I press up is gonna make me go from here to here, right? Do you understand? So I do this, and then I do that. Oh shit. God damn it. I do this, then I do this and this. I did it so poorly, holy shit. Oh, that was not a reverse lock. I'm like this. Yeah. I just did it with the wrong rhythm, I guess. I'm doing something wrong. Damn. Oh yeah, I'm like this. I'm flying like this. I should do it faster. I'm kind of fucked because I'm half neutral. I'm not used to it. Oh shit. My microphone, bro. Can you still hear me? Hello? Hello? Yes. I do this. Oh my god, I pressed my joystick which pressed free arrow. Wow, started from down, dude. What is wrong with me? I'm tired. I started from down again. Yeah, I just gotta do it faster. Damn, bruh. Like this and like this. Fuck me. So first of all, I'm pressing up. Right? I'm pressing up because I'm reversed, so I want to press up to get my nose up. But then I want to counter the fact that I'm going also to the left. Oh my god, I don't even know what I did here. I have to do it faster, goddamn. My first input is too long, I think, so... Oh, did I press free arrow, my lord. Bam, bam. I'm like this, and I want to do this. I'm like this. I can actually start from upright, right? I do this. Dude, I'm so confused. What do I press here? I press an up input. That's a clock, lol. Yeah, that's it. That's all I need to do. Jesus Christ, why is it so hard when I'm from the ceiling? That's what I need to do. So I'm reversed and I go up. Shit. I'm reversed. And I go reverse clock from up. Just like that. Holy shit, took me long enough, dude. So you have to cancel your first input so that you don't start turning, right? So that the up input is only going up. See, that was too long, so I turned to the left. But when I do it, I want to cancel the first input. I don't even know what I did here. There we go, just like that. You understand? So if I suck at it, it's not because it's not the right input, it's because I just suck at it. You will not suck at it. There we go. See? Now that I understand a little bit more what I need to do. Oh, I pressed... Dude. I pressed my joystick. Why am I so tense? My joystick, my left joystick is a free air roll. So bam, bam. Maybe I shouldn't boost. Actually, maybe I shouldn't boost at first. There we go. Perfect. That was not fast enough. Is the Lightning McQueen car still your fav? No. I've gone back to Octane. I'm a bit behind the Lost Veil lore. I'm back to Octane. I figured if my musties are pretty decent at Octane, then I'll play Octane. See that? So when I got down from the ceiling, I pressed up and I went to the right. That means that I stayed on up too long. Do you understand? That's better. That's better. So it's a reverse clock from up, but you have to make it fast though. Otherwise, you're in deep shit, my brother. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Okay. I kind of failed here.
Back up, flying to the ceiling. This is way faster than waiting for a full tornado spin to turn. But wait, Luke, this is wafted a 90-degree left, and our note that we plus stick left, and we do that for half a spin, a partial. Then we switch to normal tornado spin, aka air roll left plus sticking to the right. That completes the rotation. Boom, we just did a 90-degree left, and our nose is back up, flying to the ceiling. This is way.
Oh yeah, I could just do tornado spin. Why am I not doing tornado spin? I mean reverse tornado spin. You do this, and you fall. You do this. Yeah, so you just do you can do left right like he says, or you can do a reverse clock from the right. Just like that. See, that's clean, right? Well, I was so focused on the up input. You can just do this, and then do that. Just like that. I'm just doing a reverse clock from left. You can go left, right like that. You can directly go to this input if you want. But essentially, with the speed, it should be the same thing if you do a reverse clock, basically. But when you do the reverse clock, you keep making input, so you keep filling the car. Just like that, right? Isn't that a bit cleaner than... Isn't this a bit easier to do and a bit cleaner than saying, do this at neutral revolution and do this as half revolution? You're not going to be looking at your car. You're going to be feeling what your car does. Yeah, back to the classics. I still don't know which I prefer between the Octane and... I don't know which one I prefer between the Octane and the Fennec, but... So, reverse clock starting from the left. Doing reverse clocks is easier than chaining inputs like he says.
Faster than waiting for a full tornado spin to turn. But wait, Luke, isn't just pressing up on my joystick faster? Yes, in this exact case, pressing up might seem faster, and it would be quicker than chaining these air roll adjustments. But
if you press up, what's gonna happen is the same thing I just did. You're gonna turn to the right, to the left a little bit.
3D flight, air roll is king. It lets you change direction instantly while controlling pitch, yaw, and air roll at the same time. A bonus of holding down air roll while you fly is not just for flashiness and clips. Holding air roll actually stabilizes your movement through the air. Here's why. Air roll locks your car into a rotational axis. This creates centripetal force, meaning your car is rotating around a consistent point. Because of the centripetal force, you don't get a weird delay or floaty drift when you normally...
Second thing that's true. Basically, well, that's what I call momentum lag. When you don't press air roll, if you the first input when you don't press air roll, the first input is going to be faster without air roll than with air roll. So if I press down and I go up like that, it's instant. If I press left without air roll, it's instant. Air roll takes a bit more time to do that. But after the first input, air roll is more fluid. Because if you don't use air roll and you go left, right, you're going to see that I have some momentum lag. Watch. Oh, shit. See? I have momentum lag. Right, left, right, left. You know what I mean? You don't have that with
Normally
air
just try
roll.
to turn left and right in midair. Seriously, go to free play and try to just fly left and right midair, switching directions. You'll notice that little lag that's happening because we're not air rolling. This is the
Literally everything I just said.
same reason that air roll actually reduces our knockback. Think of it like this. Air roll anchors you in rotation, so you're not free floating and you're more resistant to impact. It's the same reason a football flies faster when it's spinning. The change in movement often happens in the first half of a spin. After 180, your car starts returning to its original position. So while it's fine to hold for 90 degrees or
Dude,
180,
I wish
starts
we had the.
returning
I
to
wish we had the. Dude, right there, I wish we had the controller overlay.
It happens.
I think maybe he doesn't put the controller overlay sometimes because he doesn't want us to see what he's doing, and he doesn't want us to decipher that he's not doing anything he's teaching.
In the first half of a spin. After 180, your car starts returning to its original position. So while it's fine to hold for 90 degrees or 180 degrees or even 270 for certain movements, remember, a full 360 spin puts you right back where you started, which leads us to takeaway 2. Chaining adjustments equals faster positioning in 3D space. That's why advanced players hold air roll while
So
flying.
this should be the advanced thing that he's teaching, and yet we have not learned anything from chaining adjustments except when we're on the ceiling doing reverse tornado spin and tornado spin. He could have gone more in depth. He could have said this is how you go from grounded to perfect position while using the joystick. He could have said that, right? Do you understand? Which I call reverse clocks, but he didn't, which is a shame because that's what I would be expecting from this chapter, right?
It lets them chain spins together, which is often the fastest way to get from A to B to C. One more example to cement this, and this example is a little more confusing than
If we don't get the history of air roll here, I want my money back. Yeah, I mean, he said that we would have the history. We literally had nothing about the history.
our 2D one. Let's say you're flying through a rings map and you want to make a harsh turn down and to the right. What would you do? Well, I'm not going to get into the technical.
What does he mean by down? Does he mean behind us? Behind the camera? If that's so, I would do a reverse clock. I mean, I would always do a reverse clock anyway, but depending on where you want to go, I would do a reverse clock.
Behind this, I'm just going to give you the answer. The answer is chaining turns. You're going to go upright, down right. Each of these for 180.
So, this is the equivalent of doing reverse clocks.
So it's upright 180, down right 180, upright 180, down right 180. Repeat.
Wait, what?
This.
What's he doing on his joystick?
So it's upright 180, down right 180, upright 180, down right 180. Repeat.
Wait, hold on a second.
So it's upright 180, down right 180, upright 180, down right 180. Repeat.
Bruh, those are reverse clocks. Am I crazy?
180. So it's upright 180, down right 180, upright 180, down right 180.
And again, if those were reverse clocks, he's not talking about the speed of them, which sucks. But okay. Oh shit, I added this to my playlist. Fuck no. And my thing just
180. Repeat. This chaining aggressively rotates your car down and right in a controlled arc. Because our car's position in space flips relatively every 180 degrees, because that's how long it takes to air roll, chaining up and right and down right gets us the most turn and makes sure our turn is never working against us. Hopefully that helps. If not, forget
not really, to be honest with you.
what I just said.
Okay, if you don't understand, just forget about it, basically. I think that's what I'm going to do. But I just want to say that doing reverse clocks and working on your rhythm is going to do all of those things in a much more understandable manner, I believe.
Just remember this. Most players make the mistake of not chaining enough, but actually chaining too much. First, you want to practice clean, consistent single inputs from neutral. Then start testing them from
Again,
other
so he doesn't say, he says neutral, but he doesn't mean neutral revolution. He means neutral verticality, which I think is stupid. So he doesn't tell you when to start the inputs. I agree with the fact that you should start on a basis. That's the point of exercise 1 and 2, is that you only use 1 or 2 inputs per revolution. But you got to say when you start them, right?
orientations, like upside down or sideways. Finally, after you understand single adjustments, like up single inputs from neutral, then start testing them from other orientations, like upside down or sideways. Finally,
wait, hold on. So now he's saying that neutral means neutral revolution, but he's never said that. He says neutral position is vertical, or like the 67.5 angle. And now he's saying that neutral means neutral revolution, as in when the hood is facing you. I'm so lost with the terminology, man.
Finally, after you understand single adjustments from all sorts of different positions, then you can start doing partials and last.
Yeah, so basically what he's saying right now is basically figure it out yourself. He's telling you to learn all of the inputs he's talked about and to do them from different verticalities and different angles of the car, and then he's telling you to chain them all together. This is the same thing as saying figure it out for yourself.
But not least,
wow,
chaining partials, which is like kind of the most advanced here. So when pros say it's just a feel thing, now you know what they really mean to say is there are roughly 16 types of spins I can do with air roll left and right. I have practiced them all, and now my hands just know. I see my car in a certain...
so again, eight inputs, 3 verticalities, at least 2 angles of the revolution. 8 times 3 times 2. That's what he's saying. He's not telling us anything about them, like just a little bit. He's not going in depth at all. He doesn't talk about muscle memory. He doesn't talk about reverse clocks. He tells you to chain them because you're going to know them by heart, which is crazy. And just then figure it out the fuck out yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Way, and I go, oh, air roll left plus upright gets me back to neutral from here. And I've done that along with 1,000 other...
Do you understand how hard it's going to be to learn while doing that? You do understand the impossibility that it is to learn all of those things by heart by yourself. Do you understand? I want this to be clear. I don't think you guys understand how hard it is to learn all of these things by heart. It's extremely hard. My method is only between 12 and 16 inputs. This guy asks you to learn 48, like 42, like 48. He doesn't even tell you what they are. He can't be bothered with it. You have to figure it out for yourself. And he doesn't ever, like, fucking learn 40 different things in muscle memory by yourself. Go ahead, do it. See how long it takes. And then he claims that this is how to learn quickly in weeks? No, dude.
Other combinations over the last 10,000 hours I've played the game. Now,
holy shit, you must be one stupid person. 10,000 hours to figure this shit out. And still being wrong about it.
I made this video to give you the system I wish I had. Where my mechanics may lack.
Yeah. I think you wished you had my video, man. Let's be honest with it. I'm sorry. I'm smoking my pipe like an Englishman. So I have my pipe in my mouth right now.
Explanations can hopefully make up. Final tips for learning air roll faster. Use slow-mo, 25 or 50% speed to start. Train in rings maps or pillars for obstacle focus practice. I also have bonus drills like the slalom in my cheat sheet. Focus first on tornado spins and one direction. Then graduate to tornado spins and both directions. Use clear goals.
This is so stupid.
So fly toward the corner wall and turn if you can't do any of the stuff before. And don't just randomly wiggle your stick around. You can do that once you're advanced, but beginners and even intermediates use specific inputs from specific car positions to get specific results.
Yeah. So again, do 8 inputs for 3 different verticalities for 2 angles of the revolution of the car. Good luck.
And think about it when you do it.
It's like he's telling us good luck and fuck off, you know?
Once you've mastered the basics, it's time to understand what separates good players from great ones. The 4 pillars of air roll mastery are what make players like Zen, Joyo, and Drawley look like they're playing a different game. First is developing a feedback loop between your eyes and hands. This isn't some...
Bro, are you kidding me?
Abstract concept. It's a neurological process that I'll show you how to accelerate. Every time you make an adjustment while air rolling, your brain is processing visual information and creating a response. So it's absolutely critical to keep your eyes focused on one specific part of your car. That way you can remember that this adjustment from this position is what fixed me.
That's not what a feedback loop is, but okay. That's not what a feedback loop is. He's talking about having, so right now he's talking about having a constant, but he calls it a feedback loop.
Or let's say you're flying in rings and you have a blackout moment where you don't know what to do. If you fall out of the sky, you want to remember, what position did I fall out of the sky in? And then you're going to test different adjustments from that position to keep you up.
Again, figure it out the fuck yourself. That's what he's saying right now. He's basically implying that you should learn every angle of the revolution for every input. Again, that's what he's saying. And he's using the word feedback loop for no reason here.
Having that consistent reference.
That is not a feedback loop.
Point where you're failing and thinking about what's happening.
Wow. So he's taken many things, but he's totally 100% changing the meaning and the definitions of things. Now he calls a reference point the fact of learning a specific input for a specific angle because you blacked out while doing it before
you crash. That helps your brain develop a feedback loop way faster. Second is
that is not the definition of a feedback loop. The definition of a feedback loop is that you get balance you get balance by putting yourself consciously out of balance. That's what a feedback loop is.
Deliberate practice, not mindless repetition. This means actively pausing.
No, you need mindless repetitions if you know what you're doing in a controlled way. And then you start doing those things repeatedly until they become muscle memory. What the fuck is he saying, dude? He's conflating every word.
After you fail a lot.
He's not even following his own terminology, because the reference point to him was the different verticality of the car, and now he's talking about the reference point as though the reference point was how was your car positioned when you blacked out? Learn that input. That's what he's saying. He's not even following his own terminology right now.
Run and identifying exactly what went wrong or what turn you messed up on. This also means aggressive
to understand what happens, you need to know how it works. If you have a blackout moment, right? Just like I just did while doing the, when he said go reverse clock and reverse tornado spin from the ceiling to get vertical again. And before he said that, I speculated you have to do a reverse clock from like an up input or an input that puts your nose up. I knew that because I could think about that because I know how it works. But if you don't know how it works, how the hell are you going to understand what to do and what went wrong?
Challenges that push you beyond.
That's why theory is important.
Under comfort zone. So once you get tornado spins, keep building on them. Third,
I don't understand. Again, what the fuck is he like? Is he in love with tornado spins? What the hell, dude?
This is something almost no one talks about. Sleep. Your brain doesn't just learn while you're.
I say that all the time. This guy is on my stream sometimes. This guy is a plagiarism right now. How many times do I say that sleeping is a cheat code? What the fuck?
Playing the game, the real magic happens when you sleep. Sleep is when your brain goes through all of the consolidation process, literally replaying these movements and
like, is this necessary really? Do you need to pay someone to do that just to make the video cool looking? Really? I would rather spend time to actually say some substantial things than to just do that.
Strengthening the neural pathways. So if you practice for an hour before bed, your brain is going to continue processing those movements while you sleep. This is why consistent practice over time beats marathon sessions. You need those sleep cycles to lock in.
Dude, I use twice as many clips as he did. He puts the same clips like 5 times in 1 hour.
In what you've learned. Fourth is maintaining a growth mindset and being patient with the process. Progress isn't linear. You'll have breakthrough days followed by days where nothing seems to work. This is normal and part of how your brain learns complex skills.
So
these
now,
4 pillars.
Basically, this is not a pillar, it's just a remark. But I feel like I'm watching my 20 thoughts, right?
Are what have helped me learn, and when I follow them, I notice I progress 3 times as fast as when I don't.
Didn't you just say at the beginning of the video that it took you 1,000 hours to master air roll? How could this be a good advice if it made you learn air roll in 1,000 hours, dude?
Common mistakes. Let me save you hundreds of hours of frustration by exposing the 5 mistakes that keep most players stuck in air roll purgatory. I've watched thousands of players make these exact mistakes, me included, and by simply steering clear of these things, you'll already be ahead of most players when they go to learn.
Those clips are from the beginning of the video, by the way.
Be careful of 2 specific problems here. 1, over tornado spinning. This means facing your car in different directions where boost starts to work against you. If you're boosting
What
all
the
throughout a
fuck
tornado
are you
spin,
talking
you're
about?
likely wasting. There's over
Why do you re-talk about tornado spin? What is going? Why is this guy so fucking focused on tornado spin?
tornado spinning. And then 2 is overspinning in general, which if you're not used to, can cause you to get weak touches with parts of your car that you didn't intend to use. Let me give you an example. When I'm using the tornado spin, I'm using a tornado to find the line. And then when I find my line, I stick to it. I don't keep tornado spinning after I've got that direct line to the ball.
Is he just telling us to stop pressing the joystick when we just need to stop pressing the joystick? Did you have to make a point out of this?
Second is neglecting basic car control. If you can't fly straight without air roll, adding rotation will only make things
That's not true. I don't know how to fly without air roll.
worse. So before diving into directional, make sure you can consistently hit basic aerials. Fly right side up, fly upside down, and fly sideways.
Oh my god. No, this is not true. You don't need to learn how to fly backwards and sideways in order to learn directional air roll. First of all, I'm the proof of it because I don't know. Secondly, I'm not an exception to the rule. If 1 minute of thinking makes you understand that. If you don't press air roll, and if I press down without pressing air roll, my nose is going to go up. Right? Right? Now, if I press air roll while pressing down, my nose is not just going to go up. So we can now say that as soon as you press air roll, the car does not answer in a normal way, which makes learning how to fly sideways and backwards totally useless. That's literally less than 1 minute of logical thinking that can bring you that. Just so you know. No, it's not mandatory to learn how to fly every direction of the car, every angle of the car to learn air roll. It's not mandatory at all. This is a stupid thing he's saying right now.
left and right and make sure you can still hit the ball. If you don't have this foundation, you won't be able to swim your way back to the neutral position when things go wrong. You'll just be tumbling through the air. The third biggest pitfall is random practice with no structure. This is why most players plateau in general. They jump into the same maps, doing the same spins, doing the same challenges they're already good at. If you want to get better in Rocket League, you need to isolate your weaknesses. In the context
Oh, you just need to push yourself like in any other skill. I don't know why this is specific to Rocket League. It's not. You want to get better at anything in life, you have to push yourself and confront yourself with difficulty so that you fall and get back up again stronger. I don't know why he's making a point out of this. This should be common sense, right?
of air roll, this means isolating the situations in which you struggle. So you want to force yourself into positions you don't understand. You want to be crashing out of an air roll map every level or two. If every level is easy, then the map isn't challenging enough for you.
Or you could, that's true at some point, that's true. There's some maps that are just easy. Or you could just try to fucking speedrun them in Supersonic until you really actually feel like you cannot go faster than this.
The patience problem. Expecting results too quickly leads to frustration and giving up before you get to your goal. Air roll mastery follows a step curve. Progress seems slow at first, then jumps, then stalls, then jumps. Point is, give yourself at least a few weeks of consistent practice before judging your progress. Fifth, and perhaps the biggest mistake of all, rushing to add the ball too soon. The ball should not be incorporated for weeks with air roll control. You need to focus on car mastery. Adding the ball prematurely forces you to divide your attention.
So as I say early in my thesis, car control before ball control. This guy's just copying, pasting things that I've said, by the way.
Between car control and ball control before you master either.
Thank God this pipe is good, man.
And bad habits that are hard to break later. Plus, using the ball at first is just discouraging. Trust me, you need tens, if not hundreds of hours before adding the ball. Bonus.
And how can you say that and then say that you can learn in a few weeks with your video? It's such a stupid remark to make. That's not going to make people want to learn how to air roll to say that.
the mental approach. The honest truth is that mastering air roll isn't just about mechanics. It's also about mindset. The players who progress rapidly aren't always just the most talented. They're usually the ones who approach practice differently. When it comes to air roll, failure is a good thing. Every time you fail, your brain is strengthening neural connections.
I have a much more poetic way of saying it than I did in the video. I said every time you fuck up, it's the best version of yourself so far. And I think that's much more motivating than this.
Failures or blackout moments aren't wasted time, they're stepping stones. The most successful students in my coaching memberships all share these 3 mental traits.
No, what they share is talent. That's it. To learn something quickly means to have good self-awareness of your mistakes and to be able to correct them. So the one key to learning something quickly is self-awareness. And that's not just for Rocket League, that's in life in general. Self-awareness is the one skill that you need to have in order to be a fast learner. That's it.
First, they embrace the discomfort of learning instead of avoiding it. When they feel that confusion or frustration during practice, they recognize it as a sign of growth. As a result,
that's good. That's true. But I also say that in the 20 thoughts of the video. I know this guy has watched my video, by the way. I know it.
Failure, and they learn way faster. Number 2, our best students celebrate small victories. Instead of focusing on what you can't...
Yeah, I'm even wondering if this guy is sometimes not in my chats, to be honest with you.
Think to yourself, did you maintain a tornado spin for 3 seconds longer than you did yesterday? That's progress. Did
What the fuck are you talking about?
you hit the ball while air rolling when you would have missed before? That's good. Did you get a reset even if you missed the shot? These are wins even if you aren't at pro level yet. Get addicted to the feeling of yourself making progress, not comparing yourself to others. Third and finally, the best players build consistent practice habits instead of marathon 8 long sessions followed by burnout and then taking...
That's true. That's why I say you reach the frustration threshold after like 2 hours of playing and training. It's not a thing. I don't know if it's called... I call it the frustration threshold. It's basically when you train something, after a certain point, after a certain time, it feels like in the session, it feels like you don't even know what you're doing anymore. To me, that's the frustration threshold. Basically, you have given your brain as much as it could handle for now, and everything you're doing from this point on is just a waste of time.
Week-long breaks from the game. Even 1 or 2 hours with breaks is way better than 5 hours nonstop, followed by nothing the rest of the week. Your brain needs consistent exposure. So small sessions.
You can see that, like, the format of the video resembles mine. He says common mistakes, I say 20 thoughts, right?
With sleep in between are crucial. Remember, the players who master air roll aren't necessarily more talented. They're more persistent, more strategic, and more positive in their approach to learning.
No, that's not true. The word master does not mean the same as learning. Someone who masters air roll probably either has worked a shit ton on it, or he just has a little more talent than you do. That's it. That's it, dude. Like, why are we saying that anyone can be anyone? That's just not true. Like, if someone with really bad hand-eye coordination, how to play DAR, how to use DAR, he's not going to do it. Like, if someone with great hand-eye coordination how to use DAR, he's going to do it much easier. Like, let's be honest with this. Of course, the guy who has no hand-eye coordination can work a little bit to try to get better. Like me, I have no talent in Rocket League. All I'm doing is out of sheer hard work, right? If I had just a little bit talent more, I would be able to be even better. But I think I've reached my mechanical potential.
Adopt this mindset, follow the system I've outlined, and I promise you will break through barriers.
So the system is, again, let me say that again, it's important. You have to learn 8 inputs at 3 different verticality stages and twice for the neutral revolution and the half revolution.
We're permanent.
Good luck.
I want to make sure you understand where this knowledge comes from, because it wasn't just me who figured all this out. So before we wrap
You're telling me it took many people to find those random bullshit?
up, I have to give credit. What I taught you today was developed in massive part thanks to my team. Thank you to my team of pros, including Shock and Torment. Shock particularly was foundational for me making this video because...
So it's the Shock guy that told him about Tornado Spin that much, I'm pretty sure. Which is, again, a mistake.
Teach me how Tornado Spin worked, I wouldn't have been able to connect the rest of the dots.
There we go. So, exactly, so. Basically, Spook Luke suffered from confirmation bias. He was told one thing, and he went to a conclusion about that thing for no reason. And he tried to find correlations, and he made correlations up. And the problem is that he did not look at the root of the problem at all.
With this video. Also,
there we
a
go.
big thanks to my editors, especially Zerosi, who did all the Cinema 4D and the custom animations you see on the cheat sheet and that you've seen across the video, and Iram, who's done all the title cards and the cool background blue graphics and literally cutting this voiceover with me and editing it. Editing team, you guys do.
That's not as scary as my video on the software, by the way.
Do so much on this project alone. Have invested over 100 hours. So, Iram, Zerosi.
Bruh. My introduction, the 5-minute short movie, 50 hours of work. Just so you guys know. I mean, it's not a competition about who puts in the more hours, but let's be, come on. Bruh.
Description. Thank you. And hopefully I didn't miss anybody, but last shout out, my ops team, Sarah Jacob, who helped develop the cheat sheet. You can download below. This was truly a team effort, and I couldn't have created this guide without all of their contributions and expertise, and I definitely would have quit if I was by myself, because this was fucking long. I mean, I've been on camera for 3 hours just recording this voiceover. Conclusion, I have to not forget. Remember that breezy flick we broke down at the beginning? I made a promise. I think you're gonna love this. So, in a breezy flick, you start with a tornado by holding arrow left and pushing right on your joystick. This creates that simultaneous yaw and roll movement that begins the setup. In other words, from the grounded position, this tornado spin immediately lifts your nose up. You know this earlier, and it can help you get your car in the perfect position to start a flick. Here's where the second step comes in. You don't want to complete a full tornado. Instead...
Are you kidding me? So he makes a tutorial, like like the best directional arrow tutorial that he could make. And the little tip that he gives us at the end is doing a breezy flick, which is so fucking arbitrary. It's crazy. What the fuck?
You want to release at precisely 180 degrees. We're going to continue yawing right from here, and this is going to put our car in the perfect position for a musty. Finally, you do a backflip, and boom, that's the pitch, that's the breezy in the net.
That's our little present, that's our little gift, a breezy flick tutorial. That I could have watched a much better video by anyone else on YouTube. That's the little gift I have for wasting 1 hour of my life, dude.
Really, what probably has seemed like a complex mechanic, hopefully feels within reach. TLDR, if I have one impact in the Rocket League community, I want it to be this. Air roll is not a feel thing. If you want more personalized guidance...
Again, he's acting as though he's being the white knight for saying that. Everybody in the comments of someone who says it's a feel thing tells them it's a shit video for saying that. You're not, spooky. You're not being original by saying that. And coming from you, that is a big fucking, middle finger to everyone. Coming from this guy, guys, coming from Spooky Luke saying that is really fucking arrogant. Like the worst person to talk about Airroll, the one who's done the most clickbait videos, the one who just spent 2 months writing a 57-minute video that's actually full of shit, is still gonna trash talk others for saying it's not a feel thing.
For Airroll journey, we can guide you through Airroll training one-on-one, and you can work one-on-one in classes. You can work one-on-one with me. You can work one-on-one with the pro.
Yeah, give us the prices, bro. Give us the prices, because I'm pretty sure a 1 hour session with you is going to be like $150.
You saw in this video, you can come to our classes and all our live events. It's all at thegrandchampbootcamp.com. Just join our free Discord, open a ticket to apply, and somebody on our team will get back to you. For now, go train and leave me a comment letting me know how long it takes you to learn Airroll. I would love if you guys came back to this video over the course of months. That would be so cool. And if you post your progress, I will definitely heart it and read the comments. I will see you in the next one. Holy sh! This was long. Holy sh! Dude. Holy man. Is it even light out anymore? Oh! The sun! It's still bright out. Still light out a little bit. Iram.
Oh my god, people. I don't know how long this video is. I'm very sorry about that, but there was no other way. I had to do this. I kind of stopped talking as soon as I started smoking my pipe because there was not much left to say that I had to say, right? This was a really bad video. If you hate me just because I criticize, you're wrong. And you should get your eyes checked out because this was wrong from the beginning. The format was wrong. The format was also a bit of plagiarism from my video. Obviously, this guy has seen my video. I'm not even sure I'm going to strike this because striking this bullshit would be an insult to my work. I've said many times why this is wrong. So basically, he says that it's not just a feel thing, but he kind of says the same thing because basically what he leaves us with is learn the 8 inputs for 3 verticalities and 2 angles of the revolution. So I haven't really been given anything substantial to work on except tornado spin. I don't know, dude. I just don't know anymore. So sorry if this was this is like 3 hours and a half long or something like that. I do apologize for that. That's just you know, that again, that's the Brandolini law, right? It takes 2 seconds to say some random bullshit. It takes a few more minutes to explain why this is wrong. So proportionally, if this is 1 hour long, obviously my video is going to be more than 1 hour long. So yeah, thank you for watching if you're on YouTube, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.